Alright guys, it's time to release my pet fish. Enjoy your life in your new pond, buddy. See ya! Very good. Oh my god, no!
I'm having the same
Can you hear me?
experience.
Okay, yes, we can hear you now. Please go ahead, sir.
Like I started saying, Professor Stella Okunna is one of the best communication educators in Africa. In fact, she is the first female professor of mass communication, not only in Nigeria, but in the sub-Saharan Africa. She was minding her business and she did it very well at the university when she got a call from someone she has never met before. And this person happened to be Peter Obi, the enigma that has rallied Nigerians from every leaning to be as a cabinet member to his administration, which lasted from 2006 to 2000. And 14.
I don't know. We keep losing Mr. Ibanga there. I think his network is quite dodgy. Mr. Ibanga,
Can you hear me
there?
now? Was first appointed the Commissioner for Information when she joined. And like she said, she never met Peter Obi at all throughout her life until the day of the inauguration. And then after the inauguration, as a communication expert, she knew that she was definitely going to the Ministry of Information, but she was scared because most politicians, especially in this part of the world, don't keep to their words. And the boss and told the boss that if he perform, she will not cover up for him. I should leave. Handed him one of our publications, which has to do with ethics of mass communication. Not quite long after she joined, she became the Commissioner for Information. The governor saw how meticulous and how intelligent and smart this woman has been, and then appointed her, added some more portfolio, moved her from the Ministry of Information to budget, and then later added economic development. In the same vein, in that same administration, Stella Okunna was appointed the Coordinating Commissioner for Development Partnership. She also became the chairman of the MDG's implementation committee and the chief of staff to the governor. Those are very sensitive and very important positions, which means she was one of the engine rooms of that administration, so to speak. And so she served for all that yes, the 8 years of the Obi administration coming and going, these several seasons, like we say in one of the points. And then after her call of duty was done, she went back to the university. These are the attributes of a thorough professional. They are not professional politicians. This is a consummate communication expert. And I'm introducing to all of us the very elegant and beautiful Stella Okunna, a professor of mass communication and one of the best, not only in Nigeria, but in Africa. You're welcome, madam.
You are welcome, please. You might want to click on the mic icon on the left bottom of your. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Now, what am I supposed to say? I thought you would let me know what you want to hear, so I can go straight to the point. Like he said, I was in Peter Obi's government for 8 years, beginning as a Commissioner for Information, understandably, because I was a professor of mass communication. But like he also said, after a short while, the governor felt I could do better in a different ministry. And that was how I moved into Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget. It was a relatively new ministry. There was a Ministry of Economic Development, but then he created a new Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget. And if you know Governor Obi very well, he's a very meticulous planner himself. He doesn't do anything haphazard. Whatever he does, he first of all plans it so effectively that when he begins to implement it, it looks like magic. So for him, probably, me being in economic planning and budget, for me and many people, was like kind of mainstreaming of somebody's ability. And at the risk of not sounding modest, I think the ministry, we thrived there and we worked hard. In addition to being a commissioner, I also was made the coordinating commissioner for all partnership programs and donor agencies support. And for those who knew Anambra at that time, Anambra wasn't a rich state. The people from Anambra State, many of them are very wealthy personally, but as a state, it wasn't a rich state. So we needed every single kobo we could get from donor agencies. And before we came in, many of them had run away because Anambra was a very fractious place. There was so much fighting, so much bad blood, so much insecurity, so much everything bad that virtually all partners had gone. I remember as a consultant on behavior change communication for UNICEF, UNICEF stopped holding workshops and events in Anambra State. We had to go all the way to Owerri or Calabar to do such activities because Anambra was so insecure, so unsafe. People were not coming there. It was a very lively time. The 8 years were really, I would say, awesome. Again, not being modest. And we worked for those 8 years. And as soon as we finished, we went back to the university. I remember our executive council was dissolved on a Friday. I think it was 11th of April. Yeah, April. And I called my vice chancellor at UNIZIC and said, I was coming back. He said, what? Won't you go and rest? I said, if we had been schooled to walk around the clock, my body had been tuned to walk around the clock. If I ever rested at that time, I would break down. And by Monday, 14th of April, I was back at work. So that's the background. And people keep thinking, what am I? I am the first female professor of mass comm in Nigeria and in sub-Saharan Africa, not in the entire Africa. Africa south of the Sahara. So if you can ask me particular questions, I would like to answer, give definite answers, because I can't begin to recount everything we did in government. So questions or guidance on what you want to hear, but the administration of Peter Obi was, it was quite good. And if you ask me, I would say it would be as the manager of resources, human resources, financial resources is unequaled, unparalleled. He's really a world-class leader. But I need to know what to talk to you about specifically.
All right, ma'am. So I want to ask that you narrow down on Peter Obi's personality. Who is Peter Obi? Let's look at his personality, his traits.
I will begin by telling you what many people thought. People were thinking he wasn't dignifying the position of governorship. People thought he wasn't showing off the glamour and the prestige of being a governor because he was so down to earth. He didn't throw his weight around. He was grassroots oriented. People who were much below him in everything could walk up to him and talk with him. He didn't go bragging around. He didn't go intimidating people. He didn't go around with siren and chasing everybody off the road. He was that kind of person, both in behavior, even in dressing. He wasn't glamorous. He was the kind of governor, humane, down to earth, modest, loving, and up till now, people say that his love for children and young people is legendary. People knew that. That was why he invested so much in education, because he loves children. He loved children then and still loves them now, and young people. Their education was of paramount importance to him. If you know how much he spent on education, you will marvel at the kind of man who could do that. And everything he did, I keep saying that, only in education and health, so much was achieved because we were in partnership with the church. It was a groundbreaking, I would say, earth-shaking partnership. Even his own commissioner didn't support that. We opposed it in government. The NUC said, you cannot do this. Returning schools to original owners, the church. Like I say all the time, Peter Obi can be very headstrong when he wants to, particularly when he's in the right. He went ahead and returned those schools, and thereafter began to give billions of naira to the church at all levels. Secondary school, tertiary education, for them to run the schools, return to them in the secondary and primary education sectors. And honestly, the achievements were mind-boggling. And the people loved him. So he wasn't, he was a down-to-earth person. He wasn't flamboyant. He didn't go around showing off. And even modesty also applied to the number of commissioners we had. We have seen governors who had hundreds of political appointees with millions of naira going into overheads for maintaining those many people. But we were relatively few in number as commissioners. I don't remember how many now, or political appointees. And that drastically cut down on the cost of running the state. One more thing that slashed to the barest minimum the cost of governance was a man's lifestyle. One of the governors, I've seen governors who had up to 20 vehicles in their convoys. So many very expensive vehicles. It wasn't Peter Obi. We had very few vehicles in the convoy. And even when he traveled, unless you were a commissioner or an appointee whose duties dovetail with what he was going to do, as he was going to Abuja. I've seen governors who, when they are traveling, the entourage will be running into, I don't know, very many people in the entourage. And if you were going abroad, all those will be flying maybe business class or first class with a lot of obstacles going with them. If Peter Obi was traveling, unless you were necessary for the purpose of that travel, he wouldn't accompany him. There was no need. I've also seen governors, when they travel, their entourage, part of the people will go and wait for him at the point of arrival to welcome him and show him off. It wasn't Peter Obi. He will go with his own luggage, travel with it, carry it along, and go over there and come down from the plane and go straight to where he was going. I remember one day when we went to Abuja to meet one of the partners, it was just me and him and maybe Val. Val is the media aide, very efficient young man. And three of us went there. And when we were coming, when they called us, we were ascending the steps. We were almost knocked off the step by the huge entourage of one brother who had gone to see the same partners and was coming down the stairs. And we had to take cover, so to say. He was that kind of man, honestly. And all that kind of lifestyle cut down the cost of governance. So the money saved from that kind of flamboyance and ostentation, that kind of saving was applied to very important areas of life where we were needed to touch lives and do good.
Okay, madam. Let me ask you this. This is very, very important because this is almost becoming a slogan. We know they give shishi. We know they give shishi. And all his supporters are now using that and say, we know they give shishi and we know they collect shishi. Can you speak on this attitude, this character of your former principal?
It depends on who the shishi is being given to. He gave shishi, he gave billions to schools. He gave billions to the health sector. It depends on whom the money is being given to. Even now, I don't know how the last government maintained those issues. He deployed hundreds of millions of naira. Let me give you an example on the education sector. At tertiary education level, before he became governor, the state university was nothing to write home about. It was in very poor shape. First of all, he renamed it from Anambra State Government University to Odubegwu University. In one fell swoop, he gave 5 billion naira to begin the turning around of that institution. That was a lot of money. Then thereafter, he gave every university in the state, whether it was government-owned, federal government-owned, state government-owned, church or missionary-owned, 100 million naira to begin some kind of turnaround for themselves. And to encourage Anambra young people to do well in education, every Anambra young man who graduated with a first-class honors received 1 million naira. It was incredible. At one occasion, there was a check for 160 million for 160 young people. It also extended to people who were of Anambra origin who excelled in education-related events or activities, like 2 professors who won international awards and local awards also received the 1 million naira. So giving shishi, it depends on who you are giving the money to. Not to political hangers on, not to godfathers. And if those people were hanging around for some time and didn't see the money, they all left. That was why he had no godfather. That was why he was able to save all the money for the important things. So not giving shishi depends on who the money is being given. For good causes, yes, he gave a lot of money, but not to people who were just being rewarded for not doing anything. So that slogan is right, depending on how you are applying it. I'm sure what that slogan means that he doesn't give shishi or give money to inconsequential things that money shouldn't be spent on, like godfathers, like political hangers on, like people who are just there trying to cash in on government money. He wasn't that kind of person. So the slogan should be looked at from 2 different perspectives. It is correct in every ramification. Once you're talking about spending government money on irrelevant matters, just to curry favor or for self-aggrandizement. He wasn't that kind of person.
Thank you so much, Ma. This is Mban speaking,
Yeah.
second co-host. Thank you so much for answering that question. So we have some people on the speaker section who would like to ask you some questions to keep the conversation going constructively. And
Go on.
then okay, so we'll take a cue. Let's start with Mr. Oladipo. Your hand is raised up. Please go ahead and make your submission in a minute. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Ma.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Ma. I am really happy you're on the space, and I am happy that we can go and verify. I am a Yoruba man, and one of the major issues I always have when I talk about Peter Obi. Can you hear me, Ma?
I can hear you clearly. Go on.
Okay. Thank you. One of the challenges I have when I talk about Peter Obi to anybody that I want to preach Peter Obi to is the fact that they always talk about the fact that we really do not understand his personality as a person, what he stands for, this and
Hello.
me, ma.
Go on.
Okay, in my true heart of heart, I know that Peter Obi is a good person. Please, can you speak to the aspect of the unifying spirit of Peter Obi? Because the major challenge I have, or we have, or most people, I don't have that challenge. The major challenge that people of my own ethnicity, my tribe, has is this fact that all the roots of the all the roots of the civil war is still in so many people in my own tribe. So now, in just a short way, can you just tell me the unifying spirit of Peter Obi so that it will be part of at least a lot of Yoruba people here will hear that. A lot of Yoruba people here I can even take this part, kind of cut it out and use it as a jingle for our Yoruba people to understand that Peter Obi is not coming to divide Nigeria. He's coming to unify, and it's not for the Igbos alone. It's for everybody. Thank you, ma.
Honestly, it amazes me when people think he will divide Nigeria. Because when you are humane, it's not just towards his people. I don't know his personal friend, but I know he worked well with people who were not from the Igbo race. If you begin with people who were not in government, who came here on assignments, like commissioners of police, like people in the army, like people who were not Igbos, he got on with all of them. He lives in Lagos, or at least he lived in Lagos, and he did well there. If you during the time we were in government, the people who were in the army in Onitsha barracks and the Navy, they were not Igbo people. He got on very well with all the commissioners of police. I don't remember their names now, but virtually all of them were not Igbo. And they collaborated with him. They worked very well. What were they looking for? For him to appoint all commissioners from Yoruba land and Hausa land? I don't think so. But by his very nature, he's somebody who cares for people. He's somebody who looks out for people who mean well. I think his only criterion, his basic criterion for liking people is that you mean well, you are selfless, you are not greedy, you are not looking out for stealing government money. If you had this quality of being altruistic, not egoistic, he will get on with it. It doesn't matter what tribe you're coming from. Maybe I don't have the details now of those he collaborated with, but he's not an Igbophobist. That is not an Igbo-centric person. He can get on with anybody, particularly those who mean well. I have to emphasize that several times. He's a man who is always looking for avenues to do good. And if he finds kindred spirit, in you. That means you have the same attitude to life, the same vision of life with him, irrespective of where you come from. He'll get on with it. That's all I can say here now. Anybody who is saying that he will divide Nigeria doesn't really know Peter Obi. He's a unifying factor. An example is when we came into Anambra State. You know, previous governments, I don't know, I don't want to do any assessment now, but the government before we came in, the one before we came in, particularly the one who the government, there was so much infight, there was so much bad blood, there was so much division in Anambra State. But Peter Obi came in there and pacified everything, brought back civility in government, brought back good governance. And all those who were on the opposing side all calmed down. Everybody mellowed down. Everybody began to love him when they saw he meant well. The same thing he did in Anambra State to pacify everybody and dismiss those who didn't mean well, he will do for Nigeria. He's going to look out for you if you're a Yoruba man and you are a good man and you love Nigeria and you want to rescue Nigeria and you want a new Nigeria and you're Yoruba, he will work with you because that's what he wants to do. If you're an Hausa man and he looks at you and sees your heart and sees what you're doing and discovers you mean well for this nation, the same way he means well for the country, he will work with you. And he looks to the south, and finds the same kindred spirit, then he will work with you. But I must keep repeating, if you are not the same feather with him in terms of meaning well and loving people, particularly young people, thinking about the future of young people, he will not work with you even if you are his younger brother. So I want to really allay the fears of Nigerians. The man we worked with for 8 years, the man we know as well as we know him, will not create division between ethnic groups. It's not about ethnicity or religion. These are factors that Nigerians have promoted over the years to divide people. Obi will not fall into that kind of trap because it is not in his nature and not in his plan. That's all I can say. So please reassure your people, the man you are talking about doesn't have a divisive characteristic. He's a peacemaker. He's a unifier. And that he's going to find that, you are going to go and find that working for him if he assumes office for the whole Nigeria. Does it make sense?
Yes, perfectly clear. Thank you so much, Ma. Speaking from a personal point of view, I appreciate the way you hit the nail on the head without sugarcoating anything. So we're going to pass. Yes. Okay. So we're going to pass the mic back to Ibanga before we take it to the other speakers again. Ibanga, please go ahead. Mr. Ibanga, are you there? I hope Mr. Ibanga can hear me. Please unmute your mic if you're there. Charles, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I think we should just pass the mic around for others to ask questions while we wait for Mr. Ibanga to come back. So you can just take your cue and pass it around like that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Pearls. Okay, thank you, Ma, once again. So we're going to pass the mic to, I think that would be Mr. Silas. Mr. Silas.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ibanga. Thank you, Pal, for hosting this space. Professor Okunna, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Silas Obumnemu. I'm a doctoral student in Spain. Coincidentally, I earned my first degree in Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Department of Mass Communication.
Really?
Yes, and I was the former president of ASUMAX. Yeah, former president of ASUMAX.
That's good.
Yeah, and I think
when did you graduate? Maybe when I was in government?
Yeah, I graduated 2013 when you were coming back.
Yeah, we were in government, yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
So mine is a comment as a question, but I really thank you for what you've impacted in us and for how you made us actually got a fully funded scholarship here in Europe. And I've been able, at least I've witnessed the person of Mr. Obi in several occasions. One was when he came to Unizik at the Faculty of Social Science lecture series, which was fully supported by Senator Ndiobi.
Yeah, Zik lecture.
Yeah, Zik lecture series. We were able to see Peter Obi. I was able to see Peter Obi from a very personal level, because I was privileged to be the president of the association then, and we work with other presidents in the faculty. And the way he talked to us, I was like, is this a governor or a commoner like me? And,
Yeah.
and on several occasions, I've met him with just only 2 cars at Thames site. He sits on the front.
Yeah, that's where he sits.
He sits in the front with the driver. And I was like, is this a governor? So I am talking from a personal perspective. This is a man that sat some departmental president and faculty president to talk to. And it was like, if every governor could be like this, and I can just imagine, because I really appreciate you, man, because I know Peter Obi chose you because of the kind of person you are. I must commend you the way you remodel our department, the structure you put there for the FM, fully sponsored by you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
But one thing I want to let us know here is that we have to be obedient and useful. Peter Obi is the unifier. That is just the truth.
That's a word.
I have talked to him. And when people say he's going to divide, he's not going to divide. We know they give Shishi, just like the professor has contextualized. He no go give you Shishi if you are to steal money. He will give you Shishi and more Shishi if you work. People call him stingy, but he's stingy to the people that want to embezzle money.
Precisely.
That is, he's stingy to people that want to embezzle money. Check the way he dresses. You can see Peter Obi today, you see him next week, you think he has not changed his clothes. He's very frugal. He's a very stained person when it comes to finance. So I must say to the young people, I know how much he invested in education in Anambra State. Virtually every prefect in some secondary school had his number. So my question now, Professor Stella Okunna, is, we know Anambra State and the big politicians and the moguls in Anambra State and the interests. From my perspective, I am seeing that most interest in Anambra State, most political interest, people in Anambra State, especially the big wigs, those that always want to maintain the status quo, the conservative, they want the process to remain the way it is. They are not supporting Peter Obi. I might be wrong, but the governor itself, he's shaky. He's not even showing any atom of, oh, this is a man that has worked for this state, let's stand by him. He has not made any open proclamation of positive support for Peter Obi. How do we get some of these people stand behind Obi? Or how do we get them know that Obi means well for the whole of Nigeria? How do we get these people to know? Because Anambra State is not a small state. I know that one. I'm from.
Hello.
Okay, I think. Okay, I think it's having.
Silas, are you there?
I think it's
Yeah,
having.
Can I answer that?
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Now, let me begin by saying that today, Peter Obi met with Soludo today. Have you heard that? They had a meeting today. Yeah, they met today in Oka at the, I think, Governor's Lodge. And it was a private meeting. Is that capacity to unite people? I remember maybe when we came in at the beginning in 2006, Peter Obi didn't live in Anambra State. So not many people knew him. They didn't quite know how to relate with him. But gradually, all those inhibitions were overcome. And the bishops, the church, the big men, as you call them, everybody rallied around him, apart from those who didn't mean well. Peter Obi so conquered, in quotes, people's resentment, people's opposition, people's uncomparativeness by his very nature. If you see him greet a traditional ruler here, he will almost fall on the ground. They began to love him because they knew the kind of person he was. That kind of modesty is bound to disarm you, no matter how haughty you are. And I keep saying it. Anambra people, even the big men, began to rally around him and to support him. Those who did not were those who didn't mean well, who were not happy that he wasn't sharing the money. Because governors everywhere, many governors share the money, in millions of it, to people who don't deserve that money. So when you come, you're not sharing, people might not like some people who want the money. I need to emphasize that. So I don't quite agree that there's opposition. For this crusade now, or this revolution to make him president, there may be people who are opposing for various reasons. One, he PDP. There may be some big politicians who are in PDP who will be resentful. He's rising in popularity. Maybe they are fearing he might outshine their own candidate. It's understandable that they might not support him or like him because they are in their own party. They are card-carrying members of their own parties. That's one reason. But anybody who is neutral, I don't see them fighting him. If you're talking about politicians, there's nothing we can do about that. What we have to do is simply to become obedient and more useful and mobilize. If everybody who is not a card-carrying member of a political party votes for him, understands him, I don't think the political party candidates and their supporters will defeat us. So yes, there are people who will not like him. And the reasons for not liking him could be various. Political reasons or financial reasons, because they're not seeing the money they might want to see. You'll forget that by this time in electioneering, when presidential elections are so close, money will be swimming, everybody will be swimming in money now. So that kind of group who will have been getting hundreds of millions of naira from prospective candidates will not like him because he will not give. So I want to believe that those who mean well, I've said this several times, who understand what he's trying to do. Who in Nigeria doesn't know what Nigeria is going through now? Who here doesn't know how bad this country is now? Who doesn't know the insecurity? Who doesn't know the hunger, the poverty? Who doesn't know what is going wrong in this country? Anybody who has seen all this, who desires a new Nigeria which is better, no matter whether you're a small man or a young man, an old man or a youth, will love Peter Obi for what he's trying to do. That's all I can say there. Yes, there was opposition when we came in, but gradually, in all honesty, opposition was overcome by his calmness, by his lack of ostentation, by his being down to earth, by his respect for people, even younger people than him. He respects everybody. They began to come around and they supported him. Going forward, I'm very confident that people will eventually flock around him when they understand how bad this country is, when they appreciate what he's trying to do and how he wants to do it. They will come around. I'm confident about that. And I'm also very confident that our governor here will eventually support him because he knows. I think they were even personal friends before they joined politics. He knows him. He understands him. I'm even thinking, I don't know who is the godfather of one, whether it was Soludo, who is godfather of Peter Obi's child, or Peter Obi, who is godfather of Soludo's child. I don't know, but they were close. Politics will not divide them for long. this meeting is a very big step in the right direction, and I foresee things turning around. Everybody supporting him. That's what I think. Yeah?
Okay. Okay, madam, let me come in here. We are talking about 6 months into office. He was impeached by members of the House of Assembly over issues of money. Now, after that, even when he did not have a single member of his party in the House of Assembly, he was able to work with that House of Assembly members and deliver everything he did in Anambra State. How was this possible?
You're beginning to see where I'm going now in this direction. I said eventually people who understand him and know how well-meaning he is, and know how much he loves Nigeria and loves Anambra State and loves every part of the country, how much he desires the progress of this nation, how much he's pained by the disaster going on in Nigeria today in bad governance. Once they understand that, they will support him. You are right. When we came in 2006, I think virtually every member of the House of Assembly was PDP. It was the only, so to say, the only party in Anambra State. There was resentment when he came in because he had removed a PDP governor. There was resentment. That was what led to the impeachment. How could somebody say you budgeted hundreds of millions of naira to repair things burnt down by reactionary forces, political thugs, so to say, and somebody repaired it with about 1/10 of what you budgeted? You say he didn't do a due project. That was when the bad blood was there. Eventually, when he came down, and really he didn't start serious work because of all the rivalry until about 2008 or thereabout. But when he began working, when even that same House of Assembly began seeing what he was doing, when they began seeing where the money was going to, even if they were not getting it as dash, all of them eventually came around. And remember, the vision of the state under Peter Obi was to achieve the MDGs. At that time, MDGs were the in thing about delivering democracy dividends and doing well. He adopted it because he saw all the goals of the MDGs were pointing in different sectors. It was a multi-sectoral program. And he cashed in on it and began to work in all the goals, all the sectors touched by the MDGs. Was it not the same House Assembly that was approving our budget? They all came around when they saw our well-meaning. There could have been one or two who were recalcitrant because maybe they were greedy or not, but I think the House eventually worked very well with him. And he achieved tremendous results. I'm even now trying to put together a brief, maybe a small publication, showing what we did in government to complement what people like you are doing online. So I think everybody should relax. Yes, you are right. At least you know the history of Anambra State. The House was all in the opposition. The House was antagonistic. The House impeached him. But by the time we left there was still a number of people who were not in Africa who were in the House. And all of them were partners in progress.
All right. That takes me to a very important issue. Internally generated. Because Anambra was not getting so much. It was not an oil-producing state at that time. And needed funding so much. What was the level of internally generated revenue in Anambra? And the money, the government get the money to do all that it did, those agencies.
I don't have the figures in memory. Like Peter Obi, he can rattle off statistics and figures. I don't have that capacity. So I don't know what the internally generated revenue was in terms of figures, how much. But I know it wasn't much. It wasn't much at all. And that is why one of the fears we had at the beginning. How was he going to do this? But again, beginning with his frugality, we've said this several times here, he cut off everything that was money draining, that wasn't relevant. So that was a big boost. to saving money to do the many things he did. That was number one. Again, his lack of ostentation. I'm sure you will have heard about his security vote. Governors, even up till now, take millions and millions of security votes. Even some of their wives even took security votes. Peter Obi didn't take much. So what he saved in the hundreds of millions he could have taken a security vote, he applied to the work we were doing. That's again frugality and good governance. Above all, we had partners. People supported him from outside Nigeria. Even within Nigeria, some of the Nigeria Anambra big men also supported him. In this capacity, in this direction, virtually every development partner, I was the coordinating commissioner for development partnership and donor agencies, and I know the amount of money that came into Anambra State from these partners. And don't begin to think that partners were everywhere. They were not everywhere. They were in states where the governors meant well. The states where they were confident that the governors will use the money they brought to do the work they brought the money for. States where there was accountability. States where governors were not embezzling money. One of the things that was done when we were in government was the Governors Forum, in partnership with DFID, began what they called the peer review mechanism, where the governors peer reviewed themselves. And we were the first, Governor Obi was the first to volunteer willingly to be peer reviewed. That means DFID partners came in to pour over every document and see what he was doing. And at the end of that, he came out in flying colors. He did all that, even in UNICEF. UNICEF so supported us. It was amazing. I was UNICEF authorizing officer for Anambra State. That means I was, apart from Governor Obi, he sent the money to our ministry at the beginning of the year, and I was authorizing what it was. And UNICEF was breathing down our necks, looking at everything we did. And they were happy. Other partners were there. DFID, UNICEF, World Bank, we were in rollback malaria, we were in Fadama 3. What are the other partners? Virtually every one of them. The European Union, in the water sector and sanitation sector, they were powerful there. And remember in Abuja Lodge, Governor's Lodge in Abuja, was there guzzling money with a lot of staff employed there, drivers, cleaners, cooks, everybody doing nothing until Peter Obi gave it out free of charge to UNDP. And their support was marvelous. So partnership, the most basic partnership was the MDGs partnership. As soon as he chose MDGs as his vision, he began to really fund it well. He began to really implement MDGs programs using our needs. Eventually, he won the best governor in MDGs implementation in Nigeria. Even when he had left government, he still was invited to New York to come and talk about his experience. So the MDGs partnership was there, funding MDGs program in partnership with Anambra State. And he was meticulous and prompt in paying Anambra State counterpart funding. So once the partners put in their money, he was always ready and prompt in putting on the counterpart contribution. And the partners were watching. They were observing. We had a budget forum organized by my ministry. Every year before we prepared the budget in my ministry also, we invited everybody to come and make an input. So we didn't waste the money. So he was frugal, he was money conscious without being miserly. I don't believe this miserly thing, because he was spending billions. So all these things made him save every kobo, made him use less every naira purposefully, made him retain his partners who supported him with a lot of money. That was how he achieved all those things. And in addition to everything we did here, he didn't borrow. And by the time he left, he didn't raise any bonds, and he didn't owe anybody. I think it is sometimes I wonder, I think it's magic. But it wasn't magic, it was just a man who meant well, who had capacity, who loved his people, working for them selflessly, using every kobo of government money to work for the people. I think that's how he achieved it. There's no other way to it. It wasn't magic. In spite of the small IGR, internal revenue coming in, he still accomplished much, much more than anybody else who could have been in that city, that kind of mega money coming in. It was careful planning. And like I said, nothing he did that wasn't planned. And when you, because he kept saying, if you don't plan well, you're planning to fail. If you don't know the road, any route can lead you anywhere. So he sat down, weighed his options, knew what he wanted to do, found the money from his partners and from the IGR we had, and used every kobo frugally and meticulously. That was how he achieved all those results. It wasn't magic or witchcraft.
Thank you so much, Ma. Yes, we're still here. I really appreciate you taking out the time to, give us so much information.
Just 1 minute.
Yes, Bishop.
Just 1 minute.
Yes, Bishop, please go ahead.
We want to reduce the timing for questions to about 2 minutes, because we have a lot of people here who are interested in asking questions, and we want to give. Yes, Ma. We have over 54 people requesting the mic.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, to ask you questions, and then we also have close to 10 people, so about 64, 65 people are waiting to ask you questions. I don't know. So we need to really reduce the time. Okay, we need to reduce the time. Okay, so we're gonna take 2 minutes for questions, or if you go above the 2 minutes, please we'll come in and we'll ask you to stop, so we can have other people ask questions, and Mommy can take her time to answer. Thank you, Mommy Stella. I mean, you're first a mother before you were a professor, so I call you Mommy Stella. I'm so sorry. Let me take that.
No, that's what my mentees call me. They call me Mommy Prof.
Mommy, yes, Mommy Prof. So I mean, I want to take that exception. So thank you, Ma, for taking out your time to be here. We really love you. So I'm gonna give the mic now to my co-host Umbang. Umbang, please, you have the mic now. Let's move.
Thank you so much, Bishop. Honestly, I was going to really thank Mommy for taking out her time to be here and not just answer the questions, but answer them with so much information and so much feedback that we can learn more than one or two things from a question that was asking one thing. Okay, so let's go back to other speakers on the speaker section. So we have Kweku. Kweku, your hand is raised up. Please, can you make your question under 2 minutes? Thank you so much. Kweku, are you there? You can unmute your mic and speak. Kweku?
Let's take other speakers. Thank you. We'll take down Kweku. When he or she is ready, he will come up. I think he's having some network interference.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, let's go to Blossom very quickly. Blossom, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Mine is not really a question, yeah. I just want to give a big shout out to my a woman I love so much. I was so excited when I saw Auntie Stella. Auntie Stella was here. She is someone that I love with all my heart. Like, she knows literally. Like, she's been a mentor to me for as long as I can remember. Like, I had to tell Phil, please, I just want to talk. Like, I just want to give a shout. In case she didn't tell you guys who she is, obedient, please follow her back to back. She is the only person that can talk about His Excellency. Like, this woman has followed His Excellency right from time when he was a nobody till this point. And I remember when she was a commissioner for education, I was still then back in school, and I was always going to her office all the time with complaints, telling her things. And she's always listening to me every freaking time I come to her office. I love her from my heart, like deep down my whole heart. I love her so much. And like, we've been communicating since then till this day. And Auntie Stella, I'm so grateful to you for being a part of this movement.
Oh my goodness. My dear Blossom, how are you?
I'm fine, Ma. I'm so grateful that you're part of
No,
this movement.
I'm so happy to hear from you. Did you tell them you are a very brilliant young woman? Did you tell them?
They know.
Did you tell them when you were like you worked at ABS? Did you tell them that when
No,
I was commissioner for information and you were good, you were brilliant?
Mommy, if you tell
Blossom
her
is a very
people like us
honestly,
will die.
no. It's okay. Blossom, greetings, so my dear girl. Well done, oh.
thank you so much, Ma, for being a part of this movement. We love you
Are
so
you
much.
are you obedient? Or
I
you
am
are
more than
obedient?
obedient, Ma.
Okay, well done, my dear girl. Well done, oh.
Thank you. That is all I want to say.
Mm.
I'll go back to the listener section. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Bishop. Thank you,
My dear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. You officially have a growing fan base, and I'm
Blossom.
there to.
Yeah.
I'm on the
Blossom.
queue.
I have a formal mentorship group. Professor Okunna's mentees. It's a formal group of young people, mainly in universities, young lecturers whom I'm mentoring seriously, formally. And then I have political mentees, or I have academic mentees, I have political mentees, and I have social mentees. So it's been an awesome life, honestly. Go on, let's hear more questions.
Yes, Mommy. Thank you so much. Okay.
Sorry, Umban. I
Okay,
want
Bishop, go ahead.
Blossom. You came here. This my too much adopted. You came here and
Bishop,
you
me
took
alone.
up this Blossom. Pacharanyana, please take your time, please. See the way you make me tell us. I don't like it because thank God. Let me even take you down. Thank you, Blossom, for coming.
Okay, thank you, Bishop. Me, personally, I liked it. We needed to hear that because me too, if not for this section of the space that I am in, I'll just be screaming because when I read that article, I was very marveled. Okay, yes. Okay, so let's take Kelly and then we'll take Dr. Stena. Kelly, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Bank. Hi, Bishop. Hi, Prof. Hi, and
Sorry,
good evening.
Kelly,
Yes.
sorry to interject very abruptly. Just give me a minute. I just want to use this opportunity to please I want to use this opportunity to welcome on this space we have His Excellency Dr. Chimaroke Nnamani, the former governor of Enugu State, Nigeria. Thank you so much for honoring us. It means a lot that you are here and participating in this conversation, and even if you're listening, we just know that your presence here, we just want to honor you. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. Kelly, please go ahead. And my apologies once again. Thank you.
Okay, Bank. Good evening, Professor Stella Okunna, and thank you for gracing us with your presence. We do appreciate it. I think I have maybe two quick questions. The first one is I want to applaud His Excellency Governor Peter Obi's work ethic and work rate. But I would like you to see if you could shed a little light about it. There was something you mentioned. It appears like he has a lot of trust with people. That even when he has not met them before, he can work with them. How does he source for information? It appears like from what we have seen so far, when an issue is happening, he tries to nip things in the bud very early and very pragmatic, and also like reaches out to people very often. Given his kind of workload and what we know from our politicians who tend to shy away from having direct conversations, it appears he's a different class and breed of his own. So please, and then the second question is, you talked about the policy document that he used to govern Anambra State, and there's been a lot of talk currently about him not having a policy document right now. Is this something that he had before he was governor of Anambra State, or was this something that he adopted as Millennium Development Goals when he became governor? Because a lot of people tend to say that he's very sketchy about, the deep dive on how he tends to achieve some of his goals and ambition when he becomes president. Thank you very much.
Very interesting question. Let me begin with the second one. I keep saying I don't know. I'm not a very patient person, but I'm patient in terms of assuring people that Peter Obi, even if you haven't seen the structure now or the whatever, he's going to shine in this job. First of all, I keep saying again, he's a very careful planner. He doesn't do anything haphazard. When he came into government, as I said, the prevailing thing then was MDGs. And the entire world, led by the United Nations, saw the MDGs, and the UN created the MDGs. They saw the MDGs as the yardstick, very effective yardstick for measuring quality of life. Because if you look at the goals, goal 1 on poverty, eradication, eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. Goal 2 on that so many goals on women empowerment, on education, on health, on environment, on partnership. All the goals were tailor-made for improving quality of life. So what was he looking for further? Smartly, he looked at all the things, and they were the things he wanted to do for Anambra State. So he quickly adopted the MDGs as the vision of the state. And honestly, I still applaud that vision. And then that's when his structure began, when the planning began. He devised a very strategic, innovative way of implementing the MDGs, of working with MDGs in all the sectors. A strategy he called ANIDS, Anambra Integrated Development Strategy. ANIDS was tailor-made again for implementing the MDGs, because ANIDS, the slogan was developing all sectors simultaneously. You see how it rhymed with the MDGs? MDGs were multi-sectoral, ANIDS was also multi-sectoral, so they were a perfect match. And with that ANIDS, he began to work on every single goal in poverty alleviation, in education, in health. So he planned meticulously. There was a structure. Somebody who plans well can never do anything without a structure. So those who are thinking the structure is not there, even if it's not there then, but I think it's somewhere is there. Even if it's not there, he will devise it and it will work for him eventually. And I'm sure that is going to be soon. Before the campaigns take off, I'm sure there will be something he'll be implementing. And even people that are beginning, the same people who are saying he's not telling us the structure are also advising us. People every day I get a tweet and say, he shouldn't talk too much. He's talking too much. Let him not show his hand. Let him not show them what he wants to do. Others are copying from him. So which one do we accept? But what I know is that he will meticulously plan this rescue of this country. And that plan will be well made, well implemented, and Nigerians will love it from every walk of life. Does that answer that question? So he had a structure which he devised, MDGs. And I know because I was the chairman of the MDGs implementation committee. So I was chairing the committee that was implementing the vision of Anambra State. Some people even call me here Mama Anit, because we were the people using the Anit, all this state executive, all the commissioners were well selected. Remember, he said, why he chose us whom he didn't even know. He wanted technocrats who were well grounded in their areas of expertise. That was why he could take people like us, whom he thought were good in our areas, without knowing us. Many governors will not do that. First of all, a big man will even dictate to you who to employ, all your friends or your brothers, everybody. The nepotism will flood everywhere. But he wanted people who could work with him. So all the commissioners, all the political appointees knew their onions, and they were supporting this vision and implementing the vision of MDGs using analysts in their various sectors. Does that make sense?
Of course, yes, ma. There's nothing you have not said that does not make sense. Be rest assured.
So he's saying, how could he have employed people who he didn't know? Because he wanted people who were good in their areas. So whether he knew them or didn't know, maybe he asked for CVs like me. I don't know who gave him my own CV because he said that was he saw and thought I would do well in that area. So in the same way, everybody he picked must have had something recommending that person to him somehow. Even if it wasn't a person recommending the person, it must have been something the person had done in the past on his CV or whatever. The kind of things Soludo tried to do also. by asking people to even apply for the jobs and tell us what you can do. We can then pick. Right. So I think the structure was there. MDGs was there, the vision, ANIS was the structure, and ANIS worked perfectly in all sectors. There wasn't a single sector in Anambra State that you couldn't see something that Peter Obi had done there. It was all inclusive. What was the second question? Have I answered it?
Bishop?
Yeah, I think you've answered all the questions now. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ma. So just because of your time, we're going to go very quickly to Dr. Stella. Dr. Stella is the secretary for the Coalition for Peter Obi. Dr. Stella, please, are you there?
Hello, good evening, Umbang.
Good evening, please go ahead. Thank you.
Good evening, Bishop. Good evening, Prof. I trust that you are doing okay.
I'm sick. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Prof, I'm going to ask you a little difficult question. Maybe because you're my colleague, a senior colleague. Well, I wanted you to tell us the story in how it was possible for Peter Obi to have been the only governor since 1999 that has successfully conducted local government election in Anambra State. What exactly happened? Can you give us the inside picture of the battles that you all were going through at that time, and how did you make it a success? Because the story might be long, I will stop here. If I have another chance, I'll throw in my second question. Thank you.
Now, there are answers I may not have. I don't remember what other governors did before we came in. I don't remember who conducted local government election and who didn't. As a matter of fact, I was living in Enugu when, even though I was teaching in Unizik, I lived in Enugu. So I didn't even see Peter Obi. I didn't know when he campaigned, what he did, and what he said. Because every day I finished my lectures in Unizik, I drove back myself to Enugu. So I may not know what happened in Anambra before I became commissioner. That was when I began to record in my own memory what happened. So I don't know who conducted local government election and who didn't. And if he conducted, but because he conducted, I remember for some time, he didn't really conduct immediately, in all honesty. And there were criticisms that he didn't want to conduct local government election. Most people in Anambra have always used appointed local government chairmen. And that has been a problem. They are beginning to say something now about Sulu. The people were thinking he was going to conduct election immediately. He has again appointed people. So it's a common thing among Nigerian governors. I don't remember what was the case when we came in, but I know even Saludo, who was in an appointment, will eventually get around to conducting local government elections. I'm confident that he's going to do that and do it well. So honestly, I'm not sure. What I know is that the local government people were well empowered by the central Anambra state government to do their work. Like when we came in, the secretariats, the working environment, the motivation, all those things were not there in the civil service and local government level. But before we left, if you had gone to, even today, I'm not sure they have built anything new there. Your nature local government area, go there and see the structure Peter Obi put up there. In my own local government, during the conference, it was Peter Obi also who put up a very lovely structure there. So he empowered the local government, whether they were appointed or elected, and they gave their best. Election was a good thing because there were criticisms that local government elections were not conducted immediately. But when he did conduct the election, we chose the best people, like he did at the central, at the state level, and they gave their best. The local government system worked. The money for local government was used within local governments to develop local governments, not when some governors also appropriate everything and forget all the local governments. I don't remember, honestly, but I know the elections were eventually conducted. Good people were elected. and they did a good job in each of their local government areas. Does that answer make sense? I don't think so.
It does. Dr. Stella, please tell
yeah.
her that it does, please.
Of course, yes, it does, because she said something about the local government structures and being from Anambra State. Being someone who has traveled to 33 states in Nigeria, I'm talking of within the space of almost every was traveled to 33 out of the state in Nigeria. I know that the local government secretariats in Anambra State all have very wonderful structures, edifices, and they have very beautiful structures, and they are very organized compared to other states that I've been to. Though I didn't know it was Peter Obi that put up those structures, but thinking about it now and knowing that those structures were there before Obi, and also it came to my mind that it was Peter Obi that did those structures. Why I asked then was because people have said that the local government election was conducted a bit late in the last few months of Peter Obi in government, and they felt that it didn't portray him well as someone who was concerned about the grassroots in terms of local government. Some persons believe that because these elections were not conducted on time, it basically meant that Peter Obi didn't do well in terms of local government, and we didn't focus on them in his government. So I wanted you to give us a picture of how local government worked in terms of using the electoral. Did it work using appointed caretaker? Did it work in Anambra State? And to what extent did you think that worked?
I would say it worked very well, but then for a democracy, appointed local government chairman should not be the ideal thing. It worked for us. He appointed, like you said, he was criticized for not conducting elections on time. But remember again, I'm not trying to justify what we did, but remember the bad blood in Anambra State when we came in. There was so much fighting. Remember the Bakassi? At the time we came in, Bakassi people there was a time they were chopping off heads of people who were either proven crime criminals or even suspected criminals. It was that kind of state. Remember when Mbajiju was there, how they claimed that they said that Godfathers held him to ransom. Remember Ngige was kidnapped as a governor. Remember the government house was burnt. The governor's lodge was burnt. That was the kind of thing we met there. So it wasn't any conducive environment. Then he was kidnapped. Then they threw him out after how many months and conducted an election in 2007. And he went to court and fought all the way until he regained his tenure interpretation. And the court said, no, this man was elected for 4 years. He's done less than 1 year. He must go back and do the remaining years of his, and he came back. Was that the place was going to be conducting elections at local government levels? And I said it before, he didn't begin working. There was no peace of mind. There was no stability. There was no security. There was no conducive environment to work until about 2008. That alone was justifiable reason to delay local government elections. In spite of all that, in spite of being appointed, he still made his mark in local government areas. He built roads to even the remotest areas, even local government areas in Aya and Melum, where there were no, we built the first access road to Aya and Melum. There were very difficult areas where nobody was even entering in local governments, ignored completely. Either with elected people or appointed people, we reached into those remote areas and he did work there. So bear that in mind, there was no way he could have conducted elections once we came in. 2006, impeachment, the same year, end of the year. 2007, election conducted and somebody declared winner. He went to court to go and say, no, I haven't finished my tenure. Up to 2008, with everything, honestly, it was a horrible situation. I'm not justifying that. For me, democracy is democracy at state level, at federal level, at local government level. But there could be, well, extenuating factors which he eventually tried hard and overcame. And as soon as he overcame, then there was a conducive environment. He did conduct the election, even it was late. And he brought in people who believe in his vision. Luckily, they were elected, and the work continued. Go to, like you said, go to every local government area, you will see Peter Obi's footprints in various ways. Hello?
Yes, Mommy Prof, sorry, I just wanted to be sure that you were still there. Okay.
No, I'm here.
Thank you.
Here.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
My questions have been answered.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Stena, for that. Those questions, rather, I think this keeps the conversation going, and we're hearing things that we may not want to hear, but are factual and speak to character, speak to accountability, tenacity, the competence levels of our preferred candidate, Mr. Peter Obi. Okay. So just to keep the conversation going, we're going to take Kweku. Kweku, we lost you initially. Hopefully your service is better now. Please, can you unmute your mic?
Yeah, I've done that.
Okay,
Hello,
please go
Prof.
ahead. Thank you.
Hello, Prof.
Yeah,
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's really good to have you here, and I've enjoyed the session so far. So quickly, going into an election year, and there are some sensitive topics that, you know, some will I say dubious people would prefer to use to demarcate certain candidates and all that. So I would love to get clarification. So this question borders on Peter Obi's relationship with Northerners in the state when he was governor. There have been rumors, stories, and all that about demolished mosques, deported Northerners, and all whatnot. So we would love to hear some clarification from you. And then the allegation that he made Northerners wear name tags while he was governor and all that. So we would love to hear from you as his one-time chief of staff, whether these things were true. If any of it happened, we would like to get a better insight into why they happened and, you know, how the situation was remedied going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know the word mudslinging didn't begin today. And particularly in competitions, more horrible things are even going to be said eventually. It's a competition. People are hauling stones and fighting and tearing one another down. Do you know Onisha? I'm asking everybody. Do you know Onisha? If you begin from, up, Upper Iweka, going towards the Niger Bridge. If you around that area, there was a time.
Is that just me or
No,
we
the
all have it?
shockwave. I think Mommy Prof is having connectivity issues. So
Okay.
I think you guys can drop me from.
No, it's a connectivity issue and not a speaker issue. Don't worry.
Yes, no, what I was saying is that Kweku have already asked my question, so you can drop me down. That's the question I've been waiting to ask.
Okay, noted. Thank you so much, Hara. That's not a problem. So I'm of the opinion that Pearls is trying to have a conversation with Mommy Prof so that we can get her back on the speaker section. So I'm honestly, like, the questions that people have asked so far, they have surpassed the kind of questions that I had in mind. Like, I know I haven't asked any so far, considering my my section in this space right now. I have to give priority to other people. So I'm just marveled. If anyone has not read that those articles that are on the JT, the Jumbotron, please do. And you would realize that she has spoken beyond, like, she has spoken in regard to the subject matter of Mr. Peter Obi's candidacy for president come 2023, that she has spoken on that much more than she spoke in those two articles. And I'm very honored to be here. I'm actually much more honored to be co-hosting this section, or this space rather. Bishop, are you can you relate to how I'm
Yeah,
feeling right now?
I mean,
Yes.
oh my God, I can't really explain what I feel, but I mean, I'd like to
Yeah.
also make a special request to Uncle Chimaroke Namani. We've seen so many tweets from you lately, sir, and would like to host you in one of our spaces because when people hear you talk, it's different from when they read. That's my own perception about a lot of people. So I'd like you to um, um, call, maybe follow me back. Then we could schedule a space where you can come and have people ask you few questions. I know I know what has surrounded the media of late, or if you could give us I mean, on my platform, of course, I'm obedient, and it will be like I'm getting so many DMs right now. Well, I'm gonna
Bishop,
close my eyes to them. But
Bishop, can I just
chill,
say
chill, chill, please, 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 please. Let's hold on, please. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, Sap. This is me now. I followed you back, okay, sir, and I just sent you a hi. Kindly reply. Let's fix a space. I'll schedule a space where you can come and actually give us, even if it's 1 hour of your time, so we can ask you questions and maybe you can answer. Most of the times when you come and you speak to people, I sent you hi on your DM. Oh, thank you for replying, Mister. I'm grateful. Um, Yeah, thank you very much, sir. After the space, I'll communicate with you, and then we'll schedule a space together. I'm very sure a lot of people want to hear you um, answer a lot of questions, and I mean a lot of questions lingering on a lot of people's mind. So thank you very much, sir. Maybe not on this platform because maybe you might be busy doing some other things, but on another day we could schedule a space. Thank you very much, sir. Dear, I'm grateful for that. Thanks very much. This
Let
is
me
Poly.
pitch in.
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead, go ahead.
Pearls, do you have an update for us before I pitch in?
Yeah, I was just trying to say, Mr. Ibrahim, please check your DM, and we're trying to bring Prof back here. She's having a little bit of network issues, but she will be back here. So let's just keep the conversation going. And thank you very much, Bishop and Mbang, for all you do. Mr. Ibanga, please check your DM. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pearls, as well. So Bishop, as I was saying,
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
okay,
I
Bishop, I was going to pitch in by
I haven't.
saying that okay,
Okay,
go
go ahead,
ahead.
my dear. Go ahead. No, you speak first. Ladies first.
Okay. So I was going to pitch in by saying that I would also like to lend a voice to plead with His Excellency Dr. Chimaroke to please honor us, because I know how expensive time can be for
No,
people, and
he
then
has honored us. He's actually telling me that
oh
he's available on this space to speak now.
oh
Um,
really?
yeah, he said so.
Okay, that's amazing.
um, okay, sir, please kindly request the mic. I think, while we wait for, okay, yes, while we wait for mommy prof to come, let's have Uncle Chimaruke. Please, if you have questions for Uncle Chimaruke, please kindly request the mic. And I mean, let's maintain some certain set of decorum, and let's be civil about this matter. Welcome, sir. How are you doing today, sir? Hello, Uncle Chimaroke Namani. Good evening, sir.
Unmuted me. Okay, you just
Yeah.
unmuted me.
You're muted now. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Good evening. Good evening. I'm quite privileged and honored to be with you. I was some time ago your age. It is indeed probable that at that age today, I may most likely be on your side. There is a wide difference between idealism and practicalism. You see, the democracy we practice is the constitutional democracy, multi-party democracy that are practiced in America. The founding fathers, the 13 colonies, met in 1773 and started an insurrection against the British king. They fought all through to 1783. They declared independence July 4th, 1776. That's the constitutional democracy we practice today, multi-party democracy. I belong to PDP, and you guys mostly belong to Labour Party or have affiliation or favor Labour Party. I'm also part of a political family called the Urban Political Family, practicing essentially in Enugu State, but global somehow. We do have quite a number of urban people who pledge to being obedient. So within the urban family is a contentious debate on who will convince each other. I said contentious debate. Since in urban we don't have no founders, we have joiners. It's an all-common game. To have a multi-party democracy. So you're entitled to what you're doing, Labour obedient. We're also entitled to what we're doing in PDP. That's the joy of democracy. But I must also say that I admire you guys because you're young people with a destiny on a date with God, and you don't want to wait for your tomorrow. You say your tomorrow is here now. So you have every business, every reason to take control of that your tomorrow now. You don't have to wait. I admire your enthusiasm. I admire your guts, your energy, your love and patriotism for Nigeria. All I know is that there is a thin line between supreme confidence and arrogance. There is a thin line between a diplomatic argument and insult. All we'll try to do is to maneuver the banana peels carefully to then end up insulting people and alienating them. I'm available to answer your questions if addressed to
Thank
me
you very
in a civil manner. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely we will. And I think a lot of people, please, if you know you don't have questions for Mr. Chimaroke, can you put down your hand? We said someone just sent me a message. I think I'll be taking messages from mostly. Please, if you have a question and you're not on the speaker session, use the hashtag tell spaces or slide into my DMs and drop your questions, and I'll be asking. And for those on the speaker session, you can request for the mic and ask him on the script your questions. So I want to ask you. Someone said in your speech earlier on, while you were introducing and addressing us as obedient, you called us idealists. I don't know. Can you address that? And
I guess your this case is being recorded. I never said
yeah,
that.
okay.
I said there is a wide gap between idealism
okay,
and practicality. I didn't call you idealist. And there's nothing wrong being an idealist. Everything starts from an idea. So I did not call you idealist. I believe this is recorded. I said there's a wide gap between idealism and practicalism. And
Thank you
even
for
if you
clearing
call
that,
me
sir. Thank you for
an
clearing that.
idealist, it's complimentary because everything starts with ideas and vision, right?
Okay, let's go to the next question now. Okay, Saddam, let me give you the mic to, your hands are up. Let me give you the mic to ask Mr. Chimaroke questions. After Saddam, we
I will
take
answer
UC.
questions based on civility. Anything
Yeah,
beyond
definitely.
civility, I'm on my way out.
Oh,
Period.
okay, sir. Can we? Do we still have to schedule a space for you because this once
No, you go ahead, but let's be nice, let's be courteous to each other. Let's
Oh,
respect each
okay,
other.
no problem. Saddam, you have the mic.
Bishop,
Then we'll go to yes.
Well,
Saddam, please give me a moment.
okay.
Please give me a moment. Okay, let me use this opportunity to reiterate the rules because His Excellency is very concerned about our civility. So please, no cursing, no swear words, no sarcastic tones. Just be very direct and hit the nail on the head so that we can be very civil and we can honor his presence here. Thank you so much. Saddam, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, good evening, Abina. Good afternoon. First of all, please, yeah. The topic of this space is heart to heart with Professor Stella. We did not come here for Chimaruke Namani. I'm not here, and I speak for 90% of everybody on this space. I am angry. I didn't come here for Senator Chimaruke Namani. Please, I don't have any questions for him. I don't have any questions for him. He's not in my camp. He's not in my team. He's not fighting for what I'm fighting for. Please, you guys can open a space, schedule it, name it, heart-to-heart talk with Chimaruke Namani. And those that want to go there, we go there and listen to him speak. With all due respect to you guys, Bishop and I am angry.
I'm angry. I mean, I wanted to host a space just to talk about him, but I mean, I decided to maintain some decorum, and I was called to order. I mean, he's here to answer questions. Most of us, that tweet you would have tweeted, that that I don't know. I mean, I feel we could ask him these questions here while we wait for Mommy Stella. As soon as Mommy Stella is here, I promise you, we're going to go there and we're going to schedule a space for Uncle Chimaruke, where he will come and answer questions. And then if you wouldn't like to be on that space, it's fine. But I mean, he's here. I know, sir. I would like to tell you, most of your tweet has insulted us as obedience. I would like to tell you that for sure because I have read your tweets, I have looked at them, analyzed them. I tried to read them from your own perspective. I see that they are also insulting to obedience, and I mean I'm getting so many DMs like that. My DMs are blowing up, and these are people who are obedient, and they are really angry. People are angry. I don't know. Would you like to say um, apologize? Apologize or take back most of the things you said on your tweets. Would you like to do that? I mean, this is just me asking, and you are in your right not to do so. But if you want to do that, please. I mean, you have the time now. The mics are unmuted, or you can go
Okay,
ahead.
okay.
And,
I got your question. I apologize unconditionally if my writing, my tweet, my engagement have offended any of you. I apologize. It is not meant to be. I was just trying to communicate. Maybe I did communicate in retaliation to being called EU, being called a criminal by people much, much younger than my children. So I apologize unconditionally. The essence is to engage. The essence is to communicate. So I'm very, very sorry. I apologize.
Okay. It is not in my capacity to accept the apology. I accept on my own. So I mean, the rest obedience. You guys can, he has apologized. He has apologized officially. It's a recorded space. He has apologized. I mean, our principal has always taught us to be to be very, very tolerant, and I think we should, in this case, be very tolerant. Okay, Saddam, I'm going to give you your remaining time to finish your submission. And I hope, I know you are calm. I know you are very, very, I know you, my brother. And that apology might mean something or not mean something to you, but I know you are calm now. So, Saddam, please, you have the mic. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. Sorry, Bishop, before you go ahead, do you want to just check and see if you can find Prof? Because she is here, but for
Yes, yes.
some reason.
Yes, I'm doing that right now. Pels, you know that glitch we have when we have this kind of people and then we can't find. You know that glitch,
Yeah,
right?
I know that.
No,
Yeah,
so
it's just that because
right.
Prof is here, but for some reason I've been looking for her. I can't find her. That's so sad.
We will search together. Let's go search. Saddam, you have the mic.
Please, Bishop, please. I'm going to. I think I'm here for Prof, as I said earlier on.
Saddam, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Don't let's not go back and forth now, please. I beg you, in the name of God, please. We might not be able to ask him to take back his word, but he has apologized. I beg you, in the name of God, please. I appeal to our inner sense of, do I call it anger? Please, I beg you guys, in the name of God, please. I mean, we trashing this here would not change the fact that we are obedient, and we do not stop Ebano from being obedient. I can tell you that Peter Obi will win in Ebano, and the voice of the people is the voice of God. So please, I beg you, in the name of God, or in whatever deity you hold dearest to your heart, please, please, I beg us all, let us kindly let this die. I mean, we will have another space where we can come and air our grievances. But for now that he has apologized, I would want us to please, if you have any questions, then just ask him. But if you don't have any questions, then let us go to the next person to please, I beg us. I know this is not something that most of us want to do. I can get people telling me nice job. I can get people telling me not acceptable. But please, I beg you in the name of God.
Bishop,
I
are you
beg
there?
you, please. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm so sorry. I lost connectivity for a moment.
Okay, welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank
Okay,
you.
let's take Kweku the hustler. Then Aji is here. Kweku the hustler, you have the mic now. Please speak.
Bishop, please don't forget me, please.
Please, Bishop. Good evening, everyone. Again, Bishop, please, I'm addressing this to you. Please, this space is for a reason. If there is to be any reconciliation with Senator Namani, we can create another space for that. This space is for a particular reason. If Professor Stella Okunna is finding it hard to come back on this space, then we crash the space and create an entirely new one so that we can have her on, so that we can achieve what we came here to do this evening. We did not come here to listen to anybody else. We came here to have a heart-to-heart with Professor Stella Okunna. If Senator Namani has apologized, it is not, the apology should not be forfeit to us. We did not come here to listen to Senator. Any other reconciliation spaces or whatever it is with Senator Namani, it can be scared about the issues that she has already attended to before she lost connectivity. This is my own subject.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Bishop, can you find her now because she just left this space and returned?
Yeah, I
She
can
is
still find her.
requesting the mic. She is
I
here.
can't. I
Oh
can't
my
still
God.
find her. It's
Someone is
this is
suggesting I
chaotic.
take everybody down and then maybe that would work.
No, even if we take everyone down, it will not solve that. It would not solve that. So what we can do to solve this is we can we it's not good to restart the space because it's been recorded. Can she try
Bishop,
again? Why we look for her? Yes, Mbang.
Bishop,
Yes, Mbang.
just as a middleman, okay, there are many people in our DMs, yours, mine, and Pearl's, saying either one, they don't want to engage with His Excellency, or two, they want to engage with His Excellency. And for the purpose of being able to figure out the balance, why don't we just take one person, and that person is Muhammad Yaya. He has a question for His Excellency, and then after that question, we redirect
No,
this conversation.
no. Let's instead of Mohammed. Mohammed is my brother.
Okay.
And when I say
Okay.
instead of Mohammed, he understands. I prefer we take either Dr. Stena or Jack. So,
Okay.
Dr. Stena, please, or we take Aji. Either of the
You
two.
guys don't want me to speak?
Please let me just
Aji,
say something.
Aji, you go after Dr. Stena. You go after Dr. Stena. Naomi, please, can I just bring you down and bring Jack up? So I'll bring you up later. I promise. Please,
Bishop.
I promise.
Bishop and Pearls, please, after we do that, let's redirect the conversation back to, our conversation, which is the heart to heart with Professor Stella. I know that this is a moment that we decided to key into, but I think we should also then, after those questions, redirect it back to the conversation that we're having, and instead of crashing the space.
Okay, guys. I'm sorry to interject right here. Aji, we're gonna give you the mic. But right after Aji has spoken, I've gotten lots of messages saying if we restart this space, she may be, because this space is for her. We came here for her. So I'm gonna just once he's done speaking, please, I crave your indulgence, everyone here. I'm gonna have to end this space and start another one so we can get Prof
Yes,
back
hold
on
on.
board.
Hold on,
Please.
Hold on, let me give you a solution to not being able to find her, because it happens usually with the iPhone devices. If you're not able to find her, what you can do is that the easiest part is that the co-host can go back up as co-host, or the co-host comes down temporarily, you put a new co-host to just accept her request while the other co-host is returned. Something like that. It works very quickly. Now, if you will permit me to just speak on the Dr. Namani being on this space, first Bishop Mbang, I've never engaged Dr. Chimaroke. I really don't care. I just see him like every other person. So what he says doesn't bother me. But then I just want to appeal to you guys. You can force people into a reconciliation of what they have not discussed. It goes beyond people just saying, I am sorry. You must understand the point where Dr. Chimaroke, is also talking from. So you can't force him to say he's sorry just because you want this space to go on. So I would just advise that we quit talking about his own issues, because the topic of this space is with Stella. So we just move on and just forget about it. If he wants to ask Stella a question or contribute or add to what she's saying, or what it's a different thing. But for it to be about him and people asking questions, why? The person we are waiting for is waiting. Please, can you do the co-host reshuffle, and then we'll see if that works. Thank you.
Okay, so now you want me to take down the both co-hosts and put someone else, or how do you want
Yes. Then the person would get her request. Then you can return the co-host that was there before.
Okay.
No, you just take down one person. You take down one co-host, then you bring in. Let's take down either me or Mbang, and then you bring in let's say Kweku or Jack or Dr. Stena.
Host.
Big dude.
I didn't come here to talk. I'm just like any other observer. You guys requested me to say something. So I didn't come here to interject in your space. I'm just like any other Nigerian on Twitter, listening to you guys. So you can go ahead. You were the one that recognized me and asked me to speak. I didn't have to speak. So
Yeah.
but I'm going to stay around and enjoy the engagement
Okay.
with
So,
Gen
yes.
Z, and the millennials. That's fine. That's democracy.
Okay. Yeah. So, Aji, you please take the mic, Aji. While Bishop
Yeah, I
and
didn't.
Kumban, I'm gonna just leave it to both of you. One of you can just voluntarily drop, please, so I can bring someone else up as co-host. Thank you.
I didn't plan to speak, but there was need for me to just quickly point out something. Bishop, I'm sure you've hosted spaces before. It's not the first time you're hosting spaces, So, bringing up Chimaruki here for me, I mean, Saddam already pointed out the few things. Kweku did the same thing. So I don't see the need why we are talking about you completely or somehow directed the conversation from Peter Obi, Stella Okunna to Chimaruki. Personally, I left so many things to come and listen to Dr. Stella. So, she's back. Let me not interrupt. Mommy, Gabani.
I was almost crying because I've been listening to all you were saying. I was hearing everything. I don't know. Where were we? We were talking about Onisha.
Welcome back. Yes, ma'am. We're talking about the upper waker.
Yes, and we said there was no way, and I keep saying, for people who know Peter, there was no way he could have demolished a mosque. There was no way he would have chased people out of that place. Even now, in my state, people are beginning to try and beautify the environment. There was no way anybody would have allowed the defacing, the filthy environment we saw at Opiweka there. Nobody would have allowed it. And what the person will do will be to relocate whoever was there. If he just chased them away without giving an alternative venue, it would have been inhuman. And there was no way he would have done that. And I will repeat several times, no governor in his right senses would have allowed the entrance into his state. And if you were coming from Lagos then, after driving through beautiful Asaba and Delta State, you drove through the Niger Bridge and you entered on it. You will go crazy with it. I saw there and everything. And the governor who meant well for his people would have found alternative venue for them and supported them to relocate. And that's what he did. And as a governor, even though we're saying he's down to earth, he's humane, he's kind, he doesn't intimidate. If you dared him that way, I don't know what happened, but I don't believe if they had moved, he wouldn't have given them alternative and supported them. And if they didn't move, you have been the greatest challenge to anybody as a governor or a ruler or a leader to allow that kind of rascality. But the Peter Obi I know will never have done anything on ethnic basis. People are going to say he doesn't like the North, he chased them out, he demolished security. It is not true. I don't believe that, and nobody who is sane can believe that. It didn't happen. I don't know what else to say.
Thank you very much, Ma. We know it didn't happen, but I mean, we have a lot of people asking that, and that has been, trending a lot. So many people has brought that to my attention. We even posted a space on that. But I mean, the real issue that we are not talking about here is the killing of the Northerners by His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Lagos State. When African China sang about it, they killed man for his side at Jigule. People are not talking about that's the real genocide. That's the real killing of the people in the north. Not Peter Obi didn't do nothing.
He didn't do it.
He didn't.
And anybody who says
know.
that is what we call hate speech. It is a typical example of hate speech. It didn't happen. No matter how much you hate a man, you're antagonizing because you're competing with him. There are things we should not say about people.
Thank you very much, Ma. That post started as a Facebook post just by some lousy clown and then it started trending in the north. I mean, we will debunk that in so many spaces that we're going to host. Thank you very much, Ma, for actually addressing that, because I believe yours is a first-hand information. This is a recorded space, and if anyone brings that up again, we can come here, take this as a reference, and then post. I mean, thank you very much, Ma. Let's have Jack. Jack, what's up? How are you doing? Jack, are you there? Okay, Aji, what's up, Aji? Go ahead. You have the mic, Aji.
No, I don't. There's no need for me to take us back since I'm Prof is here. We can just proceed. I don't
Okay.
want to talk about
All right.
Bible.
Let me take this time to apologize. I've gotten so many DMs. I mean, you guys, obedience are the reason why a bishop is a bishop. I want to apologize if my actions made you guys annoyed. I mean, we're going to reschedule a space for him, and then if you want to attend that space, you can come and ask him whatever questions you want to ask him. But I'm sorry for trying to divide. I mean, no one is perfect, and I apologize to my host, pals. I'm sorry, Umbang. I'm sorry, Dr. Stena. Saddam, you are my bro. I'm sorry for muting you. It wasn't supposed to happen, but I'm sorry. Towards the heat of the moment, and I just, had to come in there. I'm sorry. Thank you very much. I love you, bro. I love you. I love you from the depth of my heart. Thank you guys for, I mean, you guys know Bishop is not perfect. From day to day, you guys keep bringing me back to the part when I derail. All right, back to the conversation now. Maxi, you've asked your question. Let's go to Mohammed Yaya. Mohammed Yaya is
I've not asked any question.
Okay, sorry, Maxi. You're almost in house. So let's go to Mohammed Yaya. Mohammed Yaya, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, but I'm angry, seriously, because why would you
Sorry,
allow
don't be
this man
angry.
to go there?
Sorry, Mohammed. I have
Representing Northern
apologized.
Nigeria.
Kayankuri dan lababana. Na riga na ce kuyankuri. I have apologized.
Good
I am
evening,
so
Prof.
sorry, okay?
No problem.
Thank you.
Good evening, Prof. Dr. Stina. My name is Mohammed Yahya. I'm the Secretary General. Yes, ma. I'm a Secretary General to the Northern Coalition for Peter Obi. And I'm a lecturer in the Department of Computer Science and Information Technology, Federal University of Makatina. Currently pursuing my PhD.
That's good.
Yes, I respect you so much, colleague, and my senior colleague, ever senior colleague. I look at you as a role model. Dr. Stina, I did the same. Sincerely speaking, I've been overwhelmed having you on this space. I have never heard of your name before, but you have answered most of our questions. I must go back and edit my profile. I will make you one of my mentors, and I will personally, I followed you, and I want you to follow me back so that we'll have personal mentorship guidance. Thank you so much. But I have a question, ma.
Go and
Being a
ask.
person representing Northerners, because whatever is recorded on this page, we may likely go to most of your statement and your submission. We have to interpret it in Hausa language so that our people will know very, very much better about our principal, His Excellency President Peter Obi in advance. Ma. You know, let's use academic rating now. Do you think there will ever be anything called strike? And what will you say concerning the welfare of teachers and how will
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, I think we lost him right there. Maybe we should.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, Mohammed, do you want to just restart your question because we lost you? Thing. Thank you.
Right. Prof, my question was that if come 2023, His Excellency Peter Obi happens to be the president of Nigeria, which we are optimistic with this current tsunami. Prof, I'm just very, very sure, all things being equal, we are going to have a positive change in Nigeria by the special grace of God. If Peter Obi happens to be the president of Nigeria, what will you have to say concerning the current strike, ASU strike, and what can you, how will you be able to assure students on their future and future of Nigeria with regard to education, placing them on the world ranking?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good question. You know, again, I've said this several times here that Peter Obi, we know, loves children and young people. And each time he speaks, he's always saying the society we are abusing today will take its revenge on us and our children in future. He's constantly thinking about the welfare, the future of young people. I don't see him doing anything that would jeopardize that future. And for me, and for any well-meaning person, adult, the best thing you wish for a child, a young person, is a good education. That is why wherever education is not going well, it breaks the heart of those who mean well, who love children and young people. I don't ever believe it must be a matter of life and death that will cause Peter Obi not to give serious attention to young people's education. Under his watch, he will do everything humanly possible to make sure children are in school, to make sure the learning environment is conducive, to make sure teachers are motivated, to make sure education of the young person goes on without interruption. That's all I can say. So be rest assured, it must be a matter of life and death that can prevent him from not doing all this. He will do well. What he did in Anambra State will be child's play to what he's going to do at the national level. Education, remember, when we came in, education was so poor in Anambra. Anambra State, which is classified as an educationally advantaged state, was coming at the position of 24th. It's incredible. In national examinations like NECO or WAEC, we were there. Anambra sank to the lowest level in education, comparatively low for who we were, for an educationally advantaged state. Peter Obi began to work on this and took Anambra from 24th position to number 1 in NECO, in WAEC. I keep saying it wasn't magic. It was funding, motivation, conducive environment, everything that enabled education to work. And when he saw it wasn't working very well, he went into partnership with the churches. Remember, after the war, many of you wouldn't have been, were not born, or I'm not even sure any of you was born then. When the war ended, government took over all schools from the missions. When I was a young person, very young person, the mission schools were the ones doing well, not only in Anambra, all over Nigeria. And the government took over the schools and the education just collapsed everywhere. And when Peter Obi saw it wasn't working morally, educationally, he felt if they gave the schools back to the original owners, it will work. And he did that. There was very strong opposition. Even at Senate, even as Ex-Comm meeting, commissioners under him didn't even think it was a good idea. NUT was adamant that he shouldn't do it. But like I say all the time, when Obi is in the right path and he wants to do what is right, he can be very headstrong. He went ahead, returned the schools, and began to provide billions of naira to schools, the Catholic Church, the Anglican Church, those running schools at both primary and secondary school, and the environment was rejuvenated. Came back from death, and Anambra began to shine. If he can do that in one state, and he has ordained his love for young people, what is driving him for this campaign really? It's not all people like us. It is people who, I'm sure many of you there listening to me are young people, What is driving him into running for this presidential race is to make sure that the future of young people, which is being destroyed now by bad governance, is turned around. So how can he leave his core mandate of turning people around, of creating a brighter future for the people, and do something else? He will do well in education. There won't be cause for strikes because he will spend government money. He won't let government money be embezzled up to 80 billion naira. He won't let rats or chicken eat government money. He's going to invest government money in education and other areas that will touch lives in Nigeria. I'm confident about that.
Thank you very much, Ma, for that explanation. I mean, it couldn't be here. I've never heard it in this fashion before. Guys, you see why I told you from the beginning. We are hearing this is first-hand information. Most of these things, Peter Obi just give the executive orders. I know he's part of it, but I mean, these are people who carried out. If I'm not mistaken, I was watching an interview of Mr. Peter Obi on Brekete family in Abuja when after he completed his tour to all 36 states of Nigeria, excluding Adamawa, yes, and Brekete TV, and then he made mention of someone in his cabinet and a lady who will come and tell him, Peter, who asked you to sign this thing? Do this. God bless you. Are you the one? Because I'm suspecting you are
yes, because I don't know how to. Yes, I don't know how to explain my position. I was also the chairman of this good governance committee. He set up a good governance committee and made me chairman. Our duty, me and my committee members, was to watch what he was doing and call him to order if he wasn't doing well. If we couldn't find the courage, we shouldn't have belonged to that committee. And moreover, I'm older than he is. And I found the courage. I've always been a very courageous person. I'm not boasting, but I don't take nonsense, not even from. I was a professor. I had a good job. I was educated. He was younger than I was. Without being insulting, I found the courage to say, Your Excellency, you cannot do this. As chairman of your good governance committee, this won't be good enough. But we didn't have that kind of opportunity every time because he was doing the right thing most of the time. And I was also privileged to work with another woman, one Mrs. Wando, who was my permanent secretary in the Ministry of Planning and Budget. And when he retired, she did so well. Peter Obi retained him as SA to him on MDGs, and we kept working. Two of us, Vivian was in upper six when Peter Obi in CKC, when Peter Obi was, I think, in class 1. So we found the courage to talk to him, and he listened when there was need. Honestly, we thank God. The Good Governance Committee was watching every move he made. We were watching everything he did and applauding when he did well and criticizing and calling him to order when he didn't do well. We thank God. We thank God. Although many of his cabinet was also well groomed, we worked hard. They meant well. They keyed into his vision. So all of us were pulling in the same direction. Above all, he was a good person. We didn't have to chastise and caution him many times because he was always almost on the right track.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ma. I mean, I thought as much. I thought as
And moreover, one more thing too. I think maybe, I don't know how it happened, but I occupied positions that enabled me to see virtually everything. As in my position as a Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, I accompanied him to NEC meetings in Abuja. So I was there to see how he was performing at the national level. He was good. I don't remember any topic that was discussed at NEC that the chairing person didn't say, can we hear Governor? Because they knew he had the right answer. For instance, Okunji-Iweala was Minister for Finance then. And when she brought the suggestion that governor should save for the rainy day, oh my goodness, many didn't want to save. Saving wasn't in the culture of Nigerians then. And even many governors don't save. So for me, I think it was a privilege. I occupy positions that allowed me to accompany him to virtually everything. We were implementing the MDGs. I was MDG chairman. for committee. We were trying to do a good governance. I was committee chairman for good governance. We were trying to work with development partners. I was coordinating commissioner for development partnership. It was like, I think I was blessed. So in every capacity where I observed everything, I saw him perform. I saw him where he made mistakes, if he ever did, and I found the courage to caution him. And he knew we were not going to lie for him. Like if he didn't do well, we would tell that he wasn't doing well. And God guided him. In addition to his nature, his characteristics as a human being, and his vision for the state, he did do well. And we feel proud. Any one of us now who started with him, anywhere we go, they say, once you say you start with Obi, people will respect you in Anambra State or even beyond Anambra State, because they know he worked hard and he did well.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you for that. For that insightful answer. So please, guys, let's divert away from the topic a little bit. Mr. Mbana, who did the article on mommy, okay, has his he runs a website, Guidepost Nigeria. That was where we read the article from. Please, guys, go there and subscribe, just like you subscribe to David Condé's West African Weekly. Go there and subscribe. Its subscription is free. Please go there and subscribe, and please follow Mr. Mbana. Okay, and if you will, follow the hosts, Pels, myself, and Mbang. Thank you very much. If you're obedient, please do, because we have such spaces and that might interest you. Okay, thank you. Heart to Heart Talks is here to stay. Thank you very much. Max Obasi, let's take you, then we'll take Saddam. Then after Saddam, we take Hanatsu G. Let's go in that order. Thank you very much. Max Obasi, you have the mic now. Please speak.
Thank you very much, Pels, Bishop and Mbang. To be honest, I was fuming. I wouldn't lie to you. I was fuming. For a while, I've not been this angry. And we need to understand. I'm sorry, Prof. I'm sorry, but I need to address some housekeeping issues. So moving on, we have to be on the same page, because we are investing a whole lot in this movement, and we're investing our lives, our finances, and everything that we have. And to see our people, our comrades, come in here, use grandiloquent language to characterize somebody who has insulted us, gaslight us, even tell him that that he's honoring us with his presence.
Max,
I find it very...
Please. Yeah, I understand. Please. I have apologized and I said I am sorry. Okay? Please find a place in your heart to forgive me. I am a man of many frailties. Please, can we just go back to the reason why we're here, and let's not dwell on what has happened before. Okay, please, I beg you. I understand your anger, but please just ask your question and let's move to the next person, because you have just 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. God bless you, my brother.
Are you trying to remind me of the time so I won't speak again, Bishop? Anyways, you have...
Max, we go fight after this, don't worry, just go ahead.
Hopefully we'll get, when mommy has gone, or in another space, we'll get the time to address some of these issues. But I need to say this before I move on. You don't give your enemy ammunition in a war. I know you will understand it. You don't give your enemy ammunition in a war. Don't increase your enemy's social capital. So you see that space that you are planning to even do, discard that idea. Now moving on. Mommy, sorry for me sounding this way. I've just been animated because of what has been happening. But
it's okay.
My apologies. I'm not always like this, but once in a
while. It's okay. It's okay.
Because we are passionate about these things, and then when people insult us, we don't want to take it lightly, and we don't want to insult people that are old enough to be our fathers. So don't put them in our face, and then when we are provoked to say things, then they use it against us that we are insulting our elders. You don't do that to us. So, in many ways, I look at Nigeria of today, and I look at the US between 1995 and 1996, and I see some parallels. After the welfare reforms that FDR brought in the US between 1995 and 1996, there were some problems, especially within the economy. There was government shutdown in 1995, and there was government shutdown in 1996. And we could see that in Nigeria as well. The APC introduced some welfare schemes, and they couldn't hold it well. And we've experienced recession twice under this present government. And there's one thing that happened that Bill Clinton, the president of the United States at the time, did. After the midterm election, when Newt Gingrich came in with his contract with America, and the Republicans won both the House and the Senate, Bill Clinton changed course. And he said that he made this declaration that the era of big government is over. And because I have some sort of conservative leanings or values in me, and I feel that part of what we are suffering in Nigeria is the waste and over-bloated governments, both from the state level and to the federal level. In my state where I'm from, for instance, somebody put up a report recently that our governor has close to 200 appointees. And I'm wondering, how do you progress as a state when you have more than 200 appointees? So you can imagine how many appointees the president will have. And you see somebody who is just whose job is just to send tweets, put up announcements.
Your time don't finish.
No, I'm laying foundation. I'm laying foundation.
You use your foundation there. The casting too big. Just ask the question. Then let's move. Thank you, my brother.
Okay. So you see people who are basically doing nothing just to put out tweets and make announcements, earning close to ₦1 million. We have a lot of them around government. So I think Peter Obi hit it right when he said he's going to cut the cost of government. But my question is, to what extent do you think that Peter Obi's lifestyle and of modesty and frugality can help in utilizing our scarce resources, given the period that we're in? Keep in mind, our inflow now is now less than our debt engagements, so we cannot really satisfy our debt with what we are getting as income. We have to borrow to even sustain, to be able to service our debt. So keep that in mind. How do you think that his lifestyle of modesty and frugality can help utilize our scarce resources? Thank you very much, ma'am.
I think I tried to answer this question at the beginning. Honestly, lifestyle, frugality, minimal corruption, if any, can do a whole lot to cut down on cost of governance. I said before, beginning from the number of our appointees, if you overbloat your cabinet, your government with political appointees, think about the recurrent expenditure for paying salaries. There are governors, because they have appointed their relations, their friends, people recommended by their godfathers, they are paying hundreds of thousands of naira per month, millions, to these people, indirectly rewarding their godfathers and their own ethnic, maybe their own people. Ethnicism, what do they call it now, when you favor your own people. So if you cut down a number of appointees, you're saving a lot of money from salaries, from allowances, from overheads and everything. And in many states, many of those who have been appointed have no portfolio at all. They have nothing to contribute to governance. They have no jobs to do. They are merely answering SA, SSA, blah, 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 without any meaningful job. So they can be done without. So if you get rid of them, you're saving a whole lot for your state. Secondly, frugality matters. Somebody, quite often, I remember people used to say people are allowed to mark up contracts by 35%. I think that is stealing. Maybe that's government policy. That is when something is going to cost like 10,000 naira, you are allowed to make it 40,000. And that's what many governments are doing. They overbloat. That is, they overprice contracts and everything. They steal the money. And if Peter Obi didn't steal the money, many of those who work with him wouldn't have stolen. I don't remember. Let me not begin to sound like we were saints. We were not saints. But you have a leader, you're watching his lifestyle. I remember on a lighter note, when we came in, we were having orientation. One of the people who came to speak to us in a small place, we were in Pactonia Hotel, and the man said, you should never outshine your principal. That is, you can never overdress and outshine your governor. And people were saying, hey, how wouldn't and we were thinking it was going to be a flamboyant governor. See the way some governors dress. And when we saw there, what we saw that he was so down, even his dressing didn't portray any ostentation. That alone, because I can see, if you look at some governors, look at their feet, look at their dressing, even what they spend on clothing, on their lifestyle. You go to their government houses, come and see the kind of drink, the kind of champagne. I hear there are some champagne drinks that cost up to, is it 30,000 or 40,000 a bottle? I don't know. I'm not really in that area, but they're so expensive. Peter Obi did not do that. I don't remember anybody coming there having these lavish parties where you even pay one performer hundreds of thousands of naira. So all these things added. Above all, he didn't steal the money. Haven't you seen governors who have bought houses in America, bought houses in Dubai, bought houses in Singapore, bought houses in Britain? How many did he buy as governor? All those things added to the amount of money he had to work with. If he didn't do all that, he would never have achieved anything. Anambra wasn't a rich state. We weren't on producing. We didn't have much IGR. So his lifestyle, his frugality, his honesty, his lack of corruption saved billions of naira for Anambra State, which he meticulously again plowed into meaningful ventures, projects that touched the lives of those who were under his care. So a whole lot can happen in savings when you cut down the cost of governance. And Obi is expert in cutting down the cost of governance.
Thank you very much, Mark, for that brilliant answer. Moving forward, let's go to Saddam. Saddam, how are you?
What? I'm still breathing, Sha. I'm still breathing. Mommy, good evening, Jerry. Mommy, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, ma. Thank you very much for coming here. Pearls, thank you, Bishop. Bishop, I did vex for you. I know you had man. I did vex for you. And I did vex for you. Mbagi said I did vex. Oh, guy, don't you just leave me my bag. We'll discuss our own later. Thank you. Mommy, see, I will ask you a question, yeah. But before I ask you a question, I want to give a brief submission before. Bishop, please mute your mic, please. Don't vex.
Saddam, you have 2 minutes. I remember whatever submission you are doing, you have 2 minutes.
No problem. Mute your mic. Thank you. Mommy, in Nigeria, yeah, politicians are always fond of, let's say, appointing cronies, people that they tend to benefit from the government and people that they know. So I was surprised when I read you saying that you never met Peter Obi. I've been on spaces and I hear many of these the opponents to Peter Obi, they say, where are the people Peter Obi produced? When they say where are the people, when they ask these questions, they are pointing to his commissioners, people that later turned out to be probably senators, that turned out to be like, you should get where I'm coming from, like a godfather status, whereby after your tenure, you should have people all around you. So I did a quick search, on Google for the commissioners of Peter Obi, and I saw most of them were professionals. Yes, I was like, okay, so probably, because I'm going to ask you this question. Normally,
when you're done with 8 years as a commissioner of a governor, you probably start looking at House of Rep. You start looking at why don't you vie for something, or why don't you aspire to be the governor? Why don't you aspire? That is the normal mindset of a politician in Nigeria. So I want to know, after your tenure as the chief of staff to the governor, why didn't you join politics? And your colleagues that you worked with as fellow commissioners, why didn't they also join politics? Why? What happened? Did you guys go back to your professions? Or I would just want to understand, because I believe a whole lot of people here, Nigerians, what we understand by politicians are that at the end that we always pick people that are subservient to us, so that eventually they be like us. So they're looking at who did Peter Obi train? Where are these people? So that's the question I really want to ask you, because people are asking me that I should ask you, where are Peter Obi's commissioners? Thank you very much, man.
Thank you. You know, it depends on who you were before you became a member of a government setup. You said it rightly. Peter Obi had recruited mainly technocrats. A technocrat is somebody who has maybe an area of study where you are knowledgeable, where you are working, where you are doing well. Many of us were not core politicians. I don't even remember who was a politician among us. I will illustrate with myself. I was a teacher in a university. And I said this at the beginning of this conversation. Our ESCO, we exited from government on a Friday. I think it was 11th April that we left. Because after the governor left, we spent one more month with Obi and us government. He left in March. We left in April. The ESCO was dissolved on 11th of March. It was a Friday. By Monday, 14th of April. By Monday, 14th of April, I was back at UNIZIC. So where would I be aspiring to become a member of House of Assembly? I wasn't a politician. I joined, well, I didn't. I really went into governance, into policy because I was appointed commissioner. I remember even, I'm sure you will have heard, in the last governorship election, people were putting me up as deputy governor. I didn't want it. I said to myself, I don't want to be deputy governor. I've never aspired to go to Senate or to go to House of Assembly or to become deputy governor or become anything, because I am a professional teacher and I love what I'm doing. I said the same thing in that response, that I loved where I was. I was in UNIZIC. I started in various capacities that were really meaningful. I was dean, I was director, I was head of department. I wasn't a politician when I came to government. And I left as a professional, as a technocrat, and went down to what I was doing, where I was enjoying what I was doing. That applied to many of our members also. For instance, I'm sure you know Commissioner for Works, Architect Ilo Zumba. He's a renowned architect. He was Commissioner for Works. The marvelous work we did there, much of it was done under his care. As soon as he left, he spent some time with the Obiano administration. He went back to his very thriving architectural business in Enugu. You must also know Afoba. Afoba was the Attorney General. Afoba is a son now. When we left, he went back to his chambers in Onisha. Patrick Obi was Commissioner for Housing. He's a lecturer in is it College of Agriculture or Futo? I think Umudike. He's there now, back there. That applied to many of us. We loved what we were doing. We were good in what we were doing. We answered the call to work with a man who was good enough, whom we believed in his vision. After working with him and he left, many of us, most of us left. I don't even, if I think back, I'm not sure I remember any of us who ran for Senate or who ran for, I don't remember, honestly. Maybe if I think hard enough and review, do a flashback, I might remember. So that's a simple question. We were technocrats, and that's what he said he wanted, people who were good in areas, and they put you in the areas you were good. And when we finished with him, 8 years, many of us didn't spend, I think it was only about 2 or 3 of us or who spent 8 years with him as commissioners. He reshuffled the cabinet at a point, and many people left. And he brought in another batch of people. I think that's what I can answer there. We were not core politicians. So if they're looking like, if Tinubu had recruited his fellow politicians into his cabinet, and they wanted to advance their political career when they finish as his commissioners. It's understandable. So they must rise to Senate and rise to House of Reps and rise to House of Assembly. It's understandable. But when you recruit people who are not called politicians, who don't want to go into politics, you can't be asking where are his people? Where are they in Senate? Where are they in House of Reps? He's a very, he's comparing incomparable things. You cannot compare his team with Tinubu's team or call politicians' teams, because these are politicians. They are remaining in their area of their comfort zone. We were not politicians, many of us. We went back to where we were. It's very clear.
Thank you, Ma. I mean, I'm around a lot of people, and I'm sorry about that, Ma. I mean, I'm around some people here, and the applaud you are getting is very resounding. I had to tell them to stop because I was about to, come. Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you so much. Hanatu, how are you, Yade?
Lafia, thank you very much. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, loud
Yes,
and clear.
thank you. Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And I am so honored to have this opportunity to ask 2 questions to Mommy Prof. Before I ask my questions, I just want to say that I am so honored to be able to speak to you. The last time I heard someone from the East speak with so much passion, honesty, and truth like this that got my attention was the late Professor Stella Okunna. And you brought such a warmth of that memory to me, and I'm so grateful. So I just quickly want to ask you 2 questions. First off is, my name is Hanato and I'm from Plateau State. The first time I started hearing about Peter Obi, well, then I was much younger, I heard about him, but then when this election was drawing close, I started paying closer attention to him, and then I started learning more about him. So one of the things that drew me to him is the sincerity in the fact that he's compassionate. He's not just saying it like any other politician, but you can sense the compassion from his heart. So my question to you, and then of course, from his many interviews that I've listened online, he talked about how he got his commissioners and people who worked around him. So my first question to you is, I would like to know, how was he able to handle conflicts in the cabinet, especially when he had technocrats, profs, different people coming from different backgrounds? How was he able to handle those conflicts and still be able to assert himself as the head of the government, and still assert himself as the governor or put his head down? How was he able to handle different opinions, especially when you people had your meetings? Then my second question is, professionally, I'm a medical doctor, and I had an opportunity of working in the Plateau State Civil Service for a few years before I left. And one of the things that I struggled with working in the Plateau State Health Management Board is the lack of accountability, redundancy, and corruption on all levels. So my question is, yes, I do know from the stories and pictures that are being shown that he was able to build hospitals, heart center, and all of that. But how were everyday citizens able to access healthcare? Was there any state healthcare insurance scheme during his government? And then how was he able to handle the civil servants, their own tradition and culture of civil service, redundancy, lack of training, and so many things? How was he able to handle that and work with the PAMSECs and other people? Thank you very much, and may God bless you and keep you for us, ma. I'm grateful.
Thank you. God bless you too. 2 tough questions. I will keep repeating that when the leader is going the right direction, the followers can hardly miss the road. I say it all, Peter Obi wasn't perfect. He is human. He has his own frailties. But as a governor, he was a world-class leader. And don't think we didn't have any opportunity to challenge him. I remember when he came, I think it was a second or third Ex-Comm, and he said, when nobody was saying anything, and he said, if I come here any day and all of you agree with me in everything I say, I know you are morons, you don't have any ideas, I will dismiss all of you. So I want you to think out ideas, make suggestions, disagree when I'm not getting it well, suggest better ways to do it. You don't just come here. And you know, that's what happens in most governments. People come there, they're talking about their stomachs, whatever the governor says is right. It's yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, your excellence everywhere. No matter how badly the man is doing. He didn't want that. He said, I cannot be right all the time. If all of you agree with me, I know you have nothing to offer. I might as well be doing the job myself alone. That was one, because people didn't know whether he was going to allow criticism, allow suggestions, allow opinions. And that gingered everybody into putting on their thinking caps. And every commissioner was in charge of his or her ministry. They were thinking about new ideas, how to make their ministries work. They were thinking about how to please the leader who was doing so well. So, in summary, we didn't have much distraction. We didn't have many dissenting voices because commissioners were working, bringing out good ideas, which was agreeing with. The ones that were not working, I'll give you an example about frugality. There was a time, Peter Obi knew the cost of virtually everything you were going to buy. And you know the way government runs. When a commissioner wants to do anything in your ministry, you write a memo to the governor. We call this a pink memo. It was typed on pink paper, saying what you wanted to do, costing it, and then prayer. Your Excellency is prayed to please release the sum of blah 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 for this project. And this man knew the cost of virtually even the smallest item sold in the market. He was a trader, like he keeps saying. And then he will go there and then mark down all because it was the time a commissioner was going to buy a swivel chair. You know, the chair these commissioners will sit in. Obi maybe knew the chair was going to cost like, let's say, 50,000 naira. And maybe there were 3 quotations. One maybe 60,000, marking up by only 10,000. He would allow that because he knew you had to at least buy fuel to go and inspect the chair. Another person maybe put his own at 100,000. The man will say, no, this is double the price. Another person 150,000, he will just throw away the file like that. So the commissioners knew there were things they couldn't do. And because they were doing the right things, not slavishly, because they were keen into his vision, we didn't have too many fractious Ex-Comms. So that's one way. And if there were, I don't remember anybody disagreeing so violent because the things he did were the right things to do. And if you saw your leader was doing the right thing, why are you opposing him? Did you come there to fight him? In the few areas maybe he wasn't getting it right, we found the courage because he encouraged us to voice our opinions. He encouraged us to find courage and make suggestions and criticize. It was a good Ex-Comm in all ramifications. There might have been 1 or 2 who were not working hard. I don't know. But then generally, the commissioners believed in what he was doing, and we believed in our needs, in MDGs, and we loved the people the way he loved them. And we knew he couldn't take any nonsense from anybody. They were not appointed by godfathers. So if he sacked any of us, the godfather that appointed the person wouldn't be fighting him. They knew they didn't pay him money to be appointed. You know, I hear also that some governors ask for millions of naira to be appointed in as commissioner. I hear that. I don't know about that. Because he knew he didn't take a kobo from you, he could sack you. If he had charged you money, you could go and say, oh, look at this man, after all the money I paid, he removed me. So these were factors on his own side, his own advantage, and they helped a lot. For the civil service, I also said at the beginning of this interview that when we came in, the civil service wasn't anything to write home about. There wasn't even a conducive environment. Ministries were scattered over the state. Ministry of Education in North, Ministry of Information in Mbaku. And these are not the places they were, but different names. And there was no coordination. There wasn't a secretariat for the government. Civil servants were working all over the state. When they worked or not, you didn't see them because there was no central place to report for work. Peter Obi came in there, and the morale was very low. He came in there and built two lovely secretarial buildings. I called them Twin Towers. And the people he elected, I'll give an example of the head of service, one of the heads of service there. She was knowledgeable, she was committed, she loved her job, she was professional. And she catapulted the civil service with high morale and the buildings and everything. And salaries were paid. So I didn't see any area of default that would have made the civil service not do well. If there were problems, like I think there was a time doctors were not happy or something like that, and then quickly they were resolved. And one thing, pensioners were paid. If you retired, you were sure of your pension and your gratuity. Because Peter Obi used to say, it is inhuman for any employer to owe pensions or gratuities to people who have passed their productive age, who have limited opportunities to attract money anywhere. And you owe them pension. There were billions of arrears of pension when we came in. He cleared everything. He paid all the gratuities. And upon all that, we left no debt when he left. So I think generally, let me, people who don't know me may think I'm pre-singing. Anybody who knows me knows I don't flatter. I'm not a sycophant. I say the way, I'm a very plain speaking person. I say this because if at my station in life now and age, I don't say anything, see when I die that I will say it, I don't think I haven't, I don't know. So all those things endear them to the people. And he also says it, and we saw it. Why would he buy a house in New York where he lives in Onisha or Lagos or Anambra State? Why would he own a house in Dubai where he doesn't live there? Why would he come to Abuja and go and stay in Sheraton Hotel when he spent only one night for a NEC meeting? And I remember also, like I said earlier, I accompanied him to NEC meeting. And anytime there were governors who had private jets, sometimes they gave him a ride though, and we had to go to their states to enter the private jet. But usually if NEC meeting was to hold on a Thursday, most times we will go, all the time we will go on a Wednesday, spend only one night in a comfortable hotel because we didn't have a governor's lodge. Do the NEC meeting that same day because it normally closed late. By the next day, we were flying back on Friday morning. There were governors who came to NEC meetings, maybe even on a Tuesday, and stayed in their posh governor's lodge. And at the end of, they stayed until maybe Sunday before they went back to their states. It wasn't government. All these things cut down the cost of governance. Honestly, I don't know if I begin talking about Obi's accomplishments in government, I don't think I will ever remember all of them or finish all of them. The summary is that he was a governor, he was knowledgeable, he was well educated, he had capacity, he loved the people, and above all, he was grassroots oriented and wasn't corrupt in that way that people normally come in there. He was a rich man when he came to government. So what was he stealing government money for? He has only 2 children. Who was he stealing the money for? His 2 children who should do well on their own, and they're doing well on their own now. So everything may be his circumstances, his character prepared him for the job he did in Anambra State. The same way, the same characters is a retained and additional acquisition of good governance characteristics are also preparing him for a higher duty as president of Nigeria. And he will do well there. He will surpass what he did in Anambra State, where he hadn't even gathered the experience when he came in there. He was never a politician when he came into Anambra. Nobody even knew him. He wasn't in politics. He just came in there and he contested, and people saw he was trying to make a change. And they voted him in 8 years. The first governor to spend 8 years in government. He acquired the experience, and now he's going higher with all the additional accomplishments he has done in the last 16 years almost. How won't he do well as a president? I think that's the summary of your question.
Thank you very much, Ma. I mean, that's really inside, man. I'm saving the space after this, bookmarking it, coming back again to hear and listen. I'm going to take notes, and I mean, I'll use this in so many defense of my principal, Mr. Peter Obi. Thank you very much, Ma. Now we're going to establish a queue here. We're going to take Haruna. Okay, we're going to take Haruna. We're going to take Mr. Ogunyemi. We're going to take Mr. Atama. After that, we're going to take Magnific Dude, Prince, and then we're going to take Real Ever Best. Thank you. So we'll go Haruna, Ogunyemi, Atama. After that, the queue will be Magnific Dude, Prince, and Ever Real Best. Let's shoot. Haruna, how are you?
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, ma'am, and good evening to other listeners.
Good evening.
Okay. So my question is a short one. It might not be directly related to your experience serving with our principal, Mr. Obi, but on a broader scale, from engagement with a lot of people that are supporters of Labour Party, I have come to discover that many of them's argument is the fact that Labour Party is not a well-known party, and considering the way Nigerian governing system works, not being a well-known party will make it difficult for Mr. Obi to assert his weight as a president and really take charge of, changes he intends to implement in the governing system. Considering the fact that there will be a lot of oppositions from other party members. So I'm wondering what you will be able to tell such people to, to ease their fears and understand that it's possible, kind of. Being one that is experienced in governance and at least with a good knowledge of governing system in Nigeria. So that'll be it now. Mike, thank you.
Thank you. Generally, I'm an optimist. I believe in bright futures when you work hard. For such people, I will go back a little bit and remind them, maybe they don't, or inform them that when Peter Obi, like I said, he was an unknown person. He wasn't in politics. When he came into Anambra State, APGA was virtually unknown. He came in as an APGA government. It was PDP then that was reigning. Maybe there were other political parties, but it was PDP virtually, or was it what gave rise to PDP? I don't remember. But then it was like in the House of Assembly, we said it before too. All the members virtually were in opposition parties. He had nobody from his own party. There was a problem at the beginning, but eventually people came in. Don't you see when he came into the Labour Party, we were in Asaba with him when he emerged, when he was voted to become the flag bearer of Labour Party. And then people began to comment, and I agreed with them. There was no structure. Labour Party is a good party, but maybe they were not as prominent then as they are becoming now. Do you see what is going on? How many followers did they have? How many members did they have? How many supporters? See the army of young people and even old people who are supporting him now. Do you see the way people are donating structures? Was he not, was the other day to go and commission a huge building for headquarters and everything? Was it there before for Labour Party? Did you see the donation structure in Abuja for party headquarters also? Was it there before he became flag bearer? People will rally around this man, and you'll be surprised. He will have people voted in to work for him. He will do well. He's going to win the people, turn them around, win their favor, win their love, win their support. See the way you young people are supporting him. Were you supporting Labour Party like this before? I'm not even sure you were supporting the ruling parties there. Even if you were, your eyes have opened and you're seeing the way Nigeria is going. And you see a man who means well, who is ready to work, who is strong, who is healthy. People will support him. That's what I believe. That structure will come. It's already coming. The other day we had a meeting, that's a group we call APO, Associates of Peter Obi, mainly in Anambra, mainly people who had worked with him, associated with him, even contractors for government and commissioners and everybody. We had a meeting, and we are now beginning to put in place structures. We have appointed people, elected people to occupy position in every local government area. We are going to begin to interface with Labour Party now. The structure is coming up. I am confident about that this problem will be surmounted, and this man will go in there and have the peace of mind and the environment to showcase the capacity God has given him to rescue this country, and he will do it. Believe that, and you'll see what will happen.
Thank you very much, Ma. Haruna, I hope that answers your question. Let's take Mr. Oguyemi. Oguyemi, how are you doing this evening, sir?
Thank you very much, Bishop. How are you, Ma? I'm
good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm speaking from UK. I myself also in the academic. Yes, I had my PhD in Robert Gordon University. My wife also is in the academic. She's a lecturer with us at Brooks University.
I see.
Yeah. So, one of the things that gingered me to Peter Obi was when I said go and verify. You know, in academics, what we do is to go back and check.
Yes.
And I did a Vanguard check. I found that the man is genuine. And anytime, anywhere in the space, anybody that speak against him, I attack them. I've stood on several places. Ask people, I don't know him, but he doesn't know me. I'm an ordained reverend with First Power Gospel Church. I'm not, and for you to be an ordained reverend in First Power, you know, I've been there. I was ordained in 2011, and I've been pastor since 1997. So I will not stand against anything. We own our own ministry, Confident Charismatic Ministry in UK. So I decided to, because the school's on holiday, so now we're free. So every time all the spaces have been there, because not only what you are saying, I personally did my background check, and I find that all the man is saying is true. There's one of the data and one of the statistics quoted, and somebody was saying he's lying. I told him that because you don't know, in academics, that what we call subscribe source. Those subscribe sources, you need to pay for them. And the guy might be getting his permission from those subscribe sources, and those are the genuine sources, not on the internet or Google. And the person was arguing with me. I said, because the way you are taught in Nigeria to go to Google is good, but Google is not the genuine source. And I quote one, I said, Mintel. The guy quoted a document on Mintel. And I told him this was what he was talking about. Vecna is on Mintel, and I find I check it is true. So I personally, join hand with you. I pray by God's grace and inshallah that Peter Obi will become the president of Nigeria 2010.
Yeah.
We will come there and celebrate. But the only question I have is the issue of the investment of the money in the company called, is this sawmill? They are into production. Yeah. I personally know, because I went to do a background check, because the country took over the Elisha Brewery.
Interfact.
Yes, Elisha Brewery that is owned by Wale, the late Omole. It was the late Omole that owns Access Bank that sold it to Mike Comedy. That business was South African business. And that business has been Nigeria. The business in Nigeria has been there before Peter Obi. But the company is not really as big as that. So when they invested, and ask people, I don't want to tell me that Anambra is not taking dividend. Hello, ma. Is Anambra not taking dividend from that company? Please. I want you to explain that. I want to explain that to us, please. Thank you.
I'm sure you will have heard. That's one of the greatest income earners for Anambra State. Because the investment has blossomed, so to say. And I'm sure you know today, the Interfact Sambira Breweries eventually became a part of AB InBev. I don't know whether that's another huge brewery in the world. And AB InBev is part of international breweries. I think today the international brewery is about the largest brewery in the world. And that is where it has risen. Anambra even missed a chance of expanding that business because when they came back to expand, I don't think they got the answer they wanted. So they went down to Shagamu and built a huge thing there. So Anambra money, I don't know. Anambra has shares, Anambra State has shares in that brewery. And the shares have appreciated so high that the income from that thing now, ask anybody in government. It is Anambra money there, and the dividends are going to Anambra State government. Anybody who says otherwise, don't know. That's hate speech. There was government money in there. Maybe he had made, I don't know whether he also brought in some individuals to invest. I don't know. But Anambra invested their government money and the dividends are going to the government. Anybody who says otherwise doesn't either know what he's saying or is indulging in hate speech. Go verify. Ask people in Anambra government. Is there not any revenue from Submila?
I mean, but when you said go verify, I was just smacking it, right? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That has been slogan now among you. Thank you very much, Ma, for that. We're going to take Uncle Atama, and then we're going to take Uncle Atama. Uncle Atama, you have the mic now.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, hosts, co-hosts, and listeners. And good evening, Prof. Ma.
Good evening.
It's good to have you here. Pearl and Bishop and Bang, I must commend you for bringing Prof here for us to interact with her. See, you guys have posted a number of spaces on different topics before, but I must confess to you that this is one of the best spaces you are hosting. This is one of your best so far, giving us the opportunity to interact with, in what they call one of those present in the room where it happened. You know, for me, what I do with Prof is we are doing advanced level of go and verify. Yes, it is the advanced level of go and verify because we are interacting with one of the ladies that was present in the very room where it happened for 8 years. You know, and it is such an honor, such a privilege to talk to you, Mark. I'm from Kogi State, but I'm talking from Dublin in Ireland.
Thank you.
Yes. You know, I'm not sure if this question has been asked before I joined this space, but when I read that interview you had with God Post, you know, one of the striking things that touched me, you know, is the fact that you hadn't any prior connection with Obi whatsoever before he brought you into governance. You know, that he hadn't any connection with you. And we know that part of the problem of bad leadership in Nigeria is the fact that appointment is used for political patronage to settle politicians. And that is where merit and competence are sacrificed to be able to settle politicians and godfathers. And it struck me to hear that you hadn't any connection whatsoever with PO before he brought you into governance. You know, look at the current federal government. You know, from the one that Buhari came, we have cousins, we have nephews, we have in-laws, we have uncles. They are the ones that they're the ones that are running the government like a family show. And it's part of the mess we have found ourselves. Because when a government is based on nepotism, if it is based on family members, they won't tell you the truth. It is yes sir. Even if you are lying and smelling before them, they'll tell you how you are smelling so fine. So yes, I wanted to confirm that answer that you gave to God Post. Were you the only one that was brought in like that? Were there others? How did it happen that without any connection whatsoever, in search of merit, in search of competence, Obi brought you in? You know, and one thing I've learned from all this interaction and all the questions you have answered is this: that when you have a good leader that is focused on the job, that is committed, that is forward-looking, that has a vision, others will follow. And when others follow, results will come.
Mm-hmm.
But having said that, I wanted to highlight that how did you come into the show without any prior connection? Were you the only one? And what was like the philosophy driving the search to bring you on board, even though you have no connection with you? Once again, thank you, Ma. It's good to have you here.
Thank you very much. You know, I'm a very modest person, but sometimes you have to drop modesty and become immodest. At the time Peter Obi came into government, as a professor of mass comm, I've done well in my profession. I don't believe that there was any, if I was looking for a woman, and he was a very gender-friendly governor, assuming he was looking for a woman to be in information, there was no woman that was above me in both rank and competence. Let me not be too modest. At that time, he said he was looking for technocrats. And I was a technocrat to the core. I think I was head of mass communication at UNIZIC. I was HOD mass comm for 8 years in UNIZIC. By the time I became HOD, I think 1998, and by the time he recruited me in 2006, I had been HOD for 8 years, and I did well. It was a new department. We took it from scratch and went to the top with it. So if he was looking for a woman for gender friendliness and looking for a woman who was knowledgeable in communication or his Minister of Information, I think I would have been among the finalists. So without knowing him, they were looking for people who will work with him, and he chose me. I didn't know him at all. And even when he was campaigning, I was living in Enugu, like I told you. I was coming to Oka and driving back to Enugu every day. So I wasn't even supporting him in the campaign. I wasn't campaigning with him. I didn't know him. Because each time I asked, I said, how did you say he saw my CV? I've said this several times in this interview. And when he saw the CV, I don't know how he impressed it, but I know I have achieved a lot in my field. I was knowledgeable. I remain knowledgeable. I'm a very hard worker. It's either I never stay on the fence. It's either I'm with you or I'm against you. If I don't like you, I move away. If I like you, I support you every inch of the way. And that was what he brought to this government. I don't know about others. I don't know whom he knew. But I know, like I explained earlier, most of us were technocrats whom he was looking for to be in charge of various ministries. And when I've said it before also, when I know Nigerians, they don't really like call you and say, I want you to be there. You hear your name on radio. So nobody will talk to you that you are going to be appointed. Nobody said anything to me. I had my name in radio like others. And like I said, I almost didn't go. We know in Nigeria, it's been happening, it still happens now. When you are a commissioner for information or minister for information, and your governor or your president doesn't do well, you are finished. Because you're going to, and many Nigerians don't resign. Even when the man is not doing well and you know you don't want to, everything is going wrong, you stick in there, you hang in there because of the money you are making. Because millions of
Okay, Solo Francis, let's go!
And my fears were justified. And he put me in income information. I was terrified. I didn't know this man. Suppose he didn't do well. What would I tell people? Would I start lying like many people in information to cover his deficiencies? Would I start doing propaganda for him so he'll be happy? And he read the interview. I told him, if you don't do well, I know I would have found the courage to leave. I had a job to go back to. If he didn't do well, I would have left. But he did well. I didn't have to lie for him. Even information I wasn't very happy there because as if he knew, he took me away from there. Because the man said we shouldn't even broadcast what he was doing. He said, don't go praising me on radio. People will see my work and they will see it by themselves. So why do you go to start praising me? So we weren't even allowed to do the job of information dissemination and praising the man and publicizing what he was doing. He was saying he was working hard. The people he was working for will see him. And they did. Even without broadcasting everything, the people at the grassroots, where the roads were being built, where the bridges were being built, where the agricultural input was being sent to, where what is it now? Where the work was being done. They saw the work without going to radio to go and shout and praise. So that's my own story. I don't know, maybe others will know whether they knew him, but I think most of us were professionals. And when we finished in government, somebody already asked me, why didn't you aspire to go become a senator or House of Rep member? Many of us were not core politicians. We were professional technocrats. And as soon as we did our job in government, most of us left and went back to what they were doing. I went back to Unisig. I missed my students. I began teaching there, and my life continued. That's what I can say about that. Yes, I didn't know him. Yes, I met him after the appointment. Yes, he appointed me because he believed in merit. And that's him there. If you were his brother, you didn't do well. Why should he appoint his brothers who were doing business and doing well there? Why should he flood the government with his relations? Nepotism is not part of his feelings. It's not a weakness in him. He'll look out for you, you do well, he'll give you the job, you don't do well, he'll kick you out. As I explained earlier, we were not godfathers who recommended us. We were not people of his who paid him money. So if you didn't do well, he could send you away, and we all knew that, and we worked hard to stay where we were. I think that's it. I'm a typical example of how Obi rewarded merit in government, appointed those he thought would do well, and having given you what when you didn't know, he brought you in. Why wouldn't you practically support him if he was doing well? And he was doing well. So he had my full support. And sometimes also, maybe I worked really hard. And when I say these things now, they go and verify I believe in. And I had, God bless me, I had opportunities to be where he was doing most things. He was implementing the MDGs. I was chairman of MDGs implementation committee. The money was coming to my ministry. We were working hard. He was giving good governance. I was chairman of good governance committee, and we were watching him and supporting and calling him to order if he didn't do well. He needed money. Anambra was poor. We didn't have money. Most of the money we worked with came from development partners, donor agencies. I was coordinating commissioner for donor agencies. So I saw all those things. I saw the partners. We traveled to see them in Abuja. I went around the world. So if they invited us to come and see what they were doing, they were there seeing us. So I occupied positions that allowed me to see firsthand. I was a witness what this man was doing. And I was older than, and still older than him. I found the courage by nature. I'm a very courageous person, almost fearless. So I had the capacity to also caution him when he wasn't doing well. He would even tell you that this woman will say, what I know if for those who understand Igbo, what I know if don't do this. And when we were right, he listened. Even if he was going astray, he came back to the right path. And all that, I think God blessed him with a good personality, good characteristics, good conduct. And all that helped him to do well in government. I don't know. That's a summary of what happened.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead. No much further talk from the co-host. Let's take Magnific Dude. Let's take Ever Real and Prince. Okay, thank you very much. We'll go in that order. Mark.
Hey, yes, afternoon or evening, everybody. Mark, thank you for taking the time out to be here.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you, man. Yes, you're such a wonderful person, and thank you for all the informations that you've given us. I really, really, really appreciate it. I'll go straight to my question. Yeah, having worked with His Excellency for 8 years and knowing the kind of person he is, I believe you can give us a quick insight of how his first 100 days will be when he becomes the next president. I would like to know so we know what we're looking forward to. Thank you, man.
Thank you. You know this overused cliche, which we say hit the ground, hit the ground running. Permit me to use this for Peter Obi. If he enters that position, he will start firing from all cylinders day one. Because right now, I'm sure he's already planning meticulously his usual planning capacity. He's already thinking. He's very knowledgeable about Nigeria. You see the way he talks. He knows where the problems are. Even we who are lay people, even all of you who are young people, don't you know what Nigeria's problems are? He who is aspiring to lead Nigeria, he should even know the problems better than we do. So he knows the problems. He has the capacity to deal with those problems. He's already planning ahead, looking for solutions, looking for where to find the resources, looking for how to transform us from consumption to production, so that by the time he gets into that position, he'll be fully ready to begin implementing this planning he's already making. So I'm confident his first 100 days will be, well, I'll say, earth-shaking. No exaggeration. He'll go in there, he will know. And moreover, when you replace somebody, my people will say, when a woman marries two husbands, you can then decide who is better. If you're married to one man, you may not know. You can say, oh, this man is horrible. You leave him and go. But it's by the time you've experienced the second one, you can then compare and know where the first one was better. For somebody who is trying to replace governments that haven't done well in Nigeria, who will betide him if he comes there, he doesn't do well. He's finished. Even young people will turn against him. The criticism will even kill him there, psychologically. So he knows all this. He's coming there because he claims, so to say, that he has a solution to Nigeria problem. I believe he has those solutions. He's going to go there because he believes things are not going well. I believe that. To all of you believe that. He's going there because he thinks he's going to do better than those who have been there before him. All of you believe that. So why should he come in there and dilly-dally and not begin to exhibit why he wanted to replace any of the people there, why he wanted to come into that position? He will come in there prepared. He knows the problems. He's looking for solutions. He's finding solutions. He's planning to tackle those problems. And he'll come in there from day one and begin to justify your vote. If he doesn't do that, Nigerians will, in quotes, destroy him psychologically, because they will so criticize him, and he's a man who should thrive on public opinion. He will do well. 100 years, we are waiting the 100 years with great expectations. He will do well.
Thank you. We all know he's gonna do well. Let's go with Prince is not here. Okay, Ever Real Best. Okay, after Ever Real Best, we're going to establish another queue. We're going to go with ethical leadership. We're going to go with Savik, and then we're going to go with Wale. Then after that, we'll take likes of Mazi, Dr. Sena Kweku, and Jack. Okay, let's go now. Ever Real Best.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're expecting from. Mommy, you have actually blown us away. You've blown our mind away. It's so good to have you on this page. A lot of things you've said is something that it's in our heart. We've been pushing so hard. But hearing from you, like somebody who was in the room where these decisions were made, Mom, you've blown us away. Already we have fuel to actually get to February when Obi will become the president. But now you have given us extra gas. So we are now going on February with extra gas in our hands. So we are not going to lack anything. So we had enough fuel before you came, but Mom, you just gave us extra gas, to actually get to that. I've always felt that maybe in my own little way that I think I know how to talk. Like, Mommy, you've actually humbled me this evening. Like, perhaps I'll go and study mass communication, because you're just what mass communication is all about. I never really taken time to actually look at people who study mass communication, but having known that you're a professor of mass communication and the way you have actually answered the question and communicated, Mommy, you're so good. This generation is so blessed to have you. And you brought some receipts here today. You brought some receipts, because this question they've always asked us, Obi's mentees, who are the people that he worked with? Mom, you have just come to tell us that Obi did not just work with anybody. He worked with the best of this world. And this receipt you've given us, we are going to bank it, because there's a saying in Texas, people who stay in Texas, that when you don't have the facts, you bank the table, but when you have the facts, you bank the fact. So we are going to be banging the fact. Like somebody said, we have so many spaces that will host Bishop, Chigozie, Pearl, Dr. Stain, Saddam. One of the spaces that will go and actually talk is the one we hold on Saturdays, like tomorrow we are going to hold that. One of the finest spaces, we go there and banter, talk to people who talk to us and not just of them. But this space tonight is one of the finest we've actually had. Maybe anytime we have time, Saddam is going to invite you to our space. Perhaps you just come there and listen to us. Mommy, there are 3 people that is not going to vote for B in 2000 and come February. Those 3 people are selfish, nepotistic and ethnic people. And another part of those people are ignorant people, they are not going to vote. And the third are wicked politicians. There is a man called Atiku. In 2015, the North felt that they needed the presidency. Atiku had to leave PDP to go and vote his brother in AC and a brother government. That same man has returned to PDP. And there are some people, even people of our own stock, who are seeing that people are rooting for it, because there's something that has happened to Igbo man since the Civil War, that somehow we lost our confidence as a people. And today, a man has come and the whole people are rooting for him. Something that has not happened since after the civil. It has not happened. A man who is qualified. And somehow we see our days, we see our fathers, somehow, trying to tell us we are idealistic. To support such a man who has this kind of qualification, it shall not be well with those kind of people, because they are drawing this country back. If other people are coming to vote an Igbo man who has an excellent qualification, I don't know why our people will come and sit around and try to gaslight us and talk about idealism and so. Because most time when people tell you about idealism, they are trying to tell you that you're dreaming. That is what it really means. When somebody, this person is being idealistic, you're trying to tell you that you're dreaming. Mommy, what I just want to ask you this, because we don't even know what to ask you again. You brought receipt here. Mommy, what I just want to just tell us, please, what kind of, God, Mommy, sure, don't worry. I'm not asking again. Don't worry. You blow my mind now.
Thank you very much. I have a real best. Thank you very much. Now let's take Prince. Prince is back. Thank you very much, Prince. You have 2 minutes. Go ahead, Prince. Prince, we can't hear you. If you are using some sort of earpiece, mouthpiece, or AirPods, kindly unplug or disconnect it so we could get a better audio feedback. You have to go louder, bro.
I'm not using anything. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. Yeah, Mommy Stella, thank you so much for granting us this opportunity or blessing us with your presence. Honestly, just listening to you, just talk about the things that transpired when you were in government with P2P. I mean, it just invigorates my spirit, right? I was never in doubt that he's the right person, the best candidate, but just listening to you, from the horse's mouth, basically tell of your personal experiences. If there are any Baptists or articulates of this space, I hope these words are piercing your heart. If not, that you're beyond redemption. Anyway, so my question is, as you know, one of the challenges we face in Nigeria now is insecurity. And I know that, Mr. Peter Obi, in his way dealt with this, in Anambra State. However, on a more national scale, it's a different ball game. Honestly, I think that to tackle insecurity in Nigeria, you also have to fight corruption. And as you know, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala said, fighting corruption in Nigeria is very dangerous. So, can you give us any, from your experience, where Mr. Peter Obi maybe displayed both grit and the, I won't say political will. I know he has political will, but the tenacity to withstand maybe opposition, right? For example, I remember when Jonathan was, fighting Boko Haram, he got a lot of opposition from people saying that he's committing genocide and all that stuff, right? He got a lot of pushback, right? And I know that on a national level, the pushback will be immense, right? Especially when you're trying to fix things, when you're trying to fix security, when you're trying to fix, corruption. He talks about reducing the cost of governance. I know that a lot of people, there's someone here, part of the people that's here, that are benefiting from the overinflated, salaries and allowances that senators and House of Representatives get and all that, right? Now imagine a scenario where he wants to do something about that. Like, he's going to get a lot of pushback. So, like, do you, from your experience, think, or have you seen him, like, stand his ground, or because you said that when he thinks he's doing the right thing, that he's strong-headed. He's strong-headed enough, because I swear to God, like the 2023 task, I know he's going to win, but the task ahead of him is still surmounted, right? And I really worry for him. I really worry for the pushback he's going to get. It's going to be way more than whatever he faced in the United States. Do you think he has that great experience, that great in him?
Yeah, sometimes really, I think about him and I really pity him, because anybody coming into Nigeria now is a terrible place. But Obi's political, that is his will, and his parallel for this job will see him through. I remember, and like you said, fighting anything that is wrong, much of it in Nigeria will depend on somebody who is not corrupt, who means well. Take, for example, if you're going to fight insecurity and you steal the money meant for the army, you steal the money that will be used for equipment and empowering the security agencies, how will you fight? When they are ill-equipped, when they are ill-trained, when they are not empowered or encouraged to do the right things, you're already failing. And I know, as a person, he's going to deploy the finances meant for challenging insecurity into fighting insecurity. And he's a very determined person. If he means well, if he means to face any problem, he will triumph. I'll give you an example. When we came into Anambra State, I've said it several times, Anambra was a very terrible place. There was so much insecurity, bank robberies everywhere, kidnapping. I think people even say that kidnapping began in Anambra. So I don't believe that. Kidnapping for ransom was very prevalent. But he came in there and he challenged it, confronted it head on. Do you remember Evans, the kidnapping kingpin? When he was giving his testimony, he said it was Peter Obi who drove him out of Anambra State. He and his gang were making hundreds of millions of naira from kidnapping in Anambra State. So when he began to challenge insecurity and crime, he went into very strong partnership with all the security agencies. If you see the number of vehicles we gave to the army, we gave to the police, we gave to DSS, we gave to the Navy, equipment we supplied to them, and the collaboration he received from all these agencies. I think crime wasn't easy, but it's doable. In the same way, I believe if we bring that kind of fanatism, strong-willed determination, and funding for the army without embezzling the money meant for them, without demoralizing them, I think it's doable. It won't be easy. It's a very entrenched thing. But I don't see him nowadays. We hear because people are your members of your ethnic group or your relations or your own people. They kidnap people, they are bandits, the police force manages to capture them. The next day they are released. Because he won't be that kind of pedantic, go back to that kind of level of collaborating with criminals. He's going to really fight them and make sure he fights them and ends insecurity. I'm confident about that. Difficult task, they're doable for a man with his own determination. He will do well there. He will fight crime and other challenges in Nigeria and surmount them. Tough, but he will do it.
Thank you very much, Ma. Ma, just to let you know, you have 2,583 people listening to you right now, and you are preaching. There are even some radio stations in Nigeria where you don't get up to 2,500 people listening to that station, but you have 2,585 people listening to you and cheering you up. I mean, that includes those people who have decided to name themselves according to, I mean, those animals that fly at night that call themselves the bats people, and some people who have decided to cheer for a very corrupt and a thief who calls himself Atiku. I'm not sorry to say that because I know what I'm saying. I have my facts and figures. Obasanjo just said that in his book. Moving forward, I just want to tell you, Ma, that people are here cheering for you and they want to hear more. Enough of that. Let's move on. I took a cue before. I took ethnic leadership, I took Savik, and I took Wale. So we'll go with ethnic leadership, Savik, Wale. Then after that, we'll go with Mazi, Dr. Stena, and Jack. Let's go in that particular order. God bless you guys. Okay, ethnic leadership, you have 2 minutes. Please stick to your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so kindly, Mr. Host. I hope everyone can hear me.
Louder.
Okay. I asked to come in as the speaker because I wanted to address a particular question that is a lie and has always been a lie, and I know the source of the lie is actually from the BMC. Meanwhile, Mommy, good evening, ma, and thank you for all your response. I'm so grateful. I'm from Anambra State, and I was on ground in Anambra through the tumultuous reign of Mbadnuju to Chris Ngige and until Peter Obi came. And I knew what happened. Those lies that Peter Obi demolished the mosque, as long as they keep spreading it, we should keep debunking it with the truth. Number one, it is not true. The mosque was demolished. The mosque that was demolished in Onitsha was demolished about 2 months before Peter Obi came in as the governor of Anambra State. Number two, Peter Obi donated money, his own money, for the rebuilding of that mosque. Number three, people who are saying he snubbed the Sultan of Sokoto also do not know that Peter Obi and Sultan of Sokoto have actually come a long way and actually good friends. So, yes, they are not intelligent enough to know that. Number three, the commissioners of police that served in Anambra State, they are still all alive, okay? And anybody who wants to know this truth can verify from them. Number four, the lie that Peter Obi was trying to tag Northerners with tag, that is even a lie. That thing actually happened or was planned to happen in Imo State. That was even when Rochas was an APC governor. There was a problem in Imo State. The Northerners were complaining that the people that were causing problem, that the locals were saying that they are Northerners, are strangers that come in and not them who are resident in Imo State. So the suggestion came like as a solution saying, let's have the ones that are residents to be identified so that we can be able to identify those ones that come in with trucks, commit crimes, and then the people that are living in Imo State are now held responsible for that. These lies actually came from BMC, that is the Buhari Media Center. The quarrel was inspired by our guy in Kaduna State, and everybody who knew what happened between El-Rufai and Anambra State knew what happened. He came to supervise an election. He was not an agent. He didn't come as he was not a party agent to the election. He was not a part of the committee of their party for that election. He was not an INEC accredited observer in any form. He just came as somebody who was with absolute authority when movement was restricted. Securities were provided for His Excellency El-Rufai so that he does not violate the law. The governor of the state was restricted. But of course, El-Rufai felt the laws of Nigeria does not apply to him. And so he started calling Peter Obi an ethnic bigot. El-Rufai as an individual does not represent the North. A lot of Northerners came for that election who were party agents, INEC people, and none of them was harassed. So as long as they keep telling these lies, please give them these facts. They are liars. They know they're actually lying. And that's how it is easy to debunk it, because they know they are lying. And that's why I asked to be a speaker and to put out this fact so that our people in the North, when people challenge them, they can be able to state these things. I'm not saying what I read. I was on ground in Anambra State throughout all this period. Thank you so much. I yield the mic.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that beautiful submission. I mean, hearing firsthand.
Bluetooth disconnected.